Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else. Welcome back to round one of the Division 2 playoffs here in Season 6 of the Cobalt Wins League. Tonight's best of three will pit the number 2 seed, OLI and the VAM, up against the number 3 seed, the Red Panda Warriors. Winner tonight goes on to face INT Basilisk next week in the finals. My name is Crewman44. I am joined tonight by the beautiful Beetle on color. Are you ready for some playoff action, Beetle?
Yes, it's nice to be back. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the hospitality. Also in the Discord, saw some messages. Beetle's casting again. Yes, I will be casting this wonderful match, and I want to see finally if my favorites Red Panda Warriors can beat Ollie and the VAM and actually make it to finals for the first time in their lifetime. I think, in the Cobalt Wins League.
Ooh, biased caster alert on the desk, but who doesn't love a good underdog story, right?
Exactly.
Always easy to root for those guys, but they will have, course, as you already alluded to, Beetle, have a difficult matchup tonight up against Ollie and his VAM. What kind of strategy do you think the Panda Warriors should come out with here in game number 1 to give themselves the best possible chance of getting on the board first in tonight's matchup?
Well, I have a whole list of notes, but it basically comes down to, if I have to sum up my 15-page essay, are they going to be able to get the comfort picks on top lane, and are they going to be able to excel on the difference in jungle? In Cobalt Wins League, not everybody is high-level masters. We're going to see as well if they can get their picks up. I think we're going to head into Champ Select in just a second. Yes, there we go. So, yeah, that's the strategy of tonight. Is going to see if we can get the comfort bit on Ponticus Maximus, right? He's well known to be a really good Gnar player. And he has to play versus Silverback, who is known to be a Gangplank player. Now, if you play Gangplank versus Gnar, you know you're going to have a rough time getting those barrels out. Range matchups do not favor you that well. So we're going to see if they're going to kick those out as we see the first damage.
Yeah, well, the Panda Warriors do have the red side for game number 1 here, Beetle. So, of course, they will have the opportunity to go for that counter pick in the top lane if they so desire. We are seeing that Gnar banned away straight off rip, though.
Yep.
Not going to even leave that as an option for the Panda Warriors in this first game.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I said right there, right? He's very well known for Gnar, so you're going to have to force him on some other pick now. And if you check out the history of Ponticus Maximus, he doesn't play that many like hyper carries on top lane, apart from like some tanks, right? He does play, I think, Garen I saw in his match history. So maybe we're going to see a Garen, but at least we're not going to see the Gnar. And that's the biggest thing.
A little bit of Jax there maybe as well. Jax, of course, still pretty meta these days also. But we'll just have to wait and see. I think we probably should expect that top lane pick to come in last. But Rel is going to be prioritized by Ollie. Is, of course, a very, very powerful pick still because of its flexible nature between jungle and support.
Yeah, it's super nice always to pick up Rel, right? You have engage, you have disengage all in one, and that ultimate, oh my god, that's so much CC. You're getting really locked down there. Same thing on the other side, right? Poppy is also really good at locking down champions, so it's really nice to see also the other side of hard CC. So far, not really that many dashes on Ollie and the VAM side, right? You have Syndra and Kai'Sa, quite static champions, apart from the ultimate of Kai'Sa, who's getting right on top of you. Let's see how they're going to do in the jungle. Maybe see a Lee Sin.
Yeah, the Poppy prioritization does feel a little bit surprising so early on in the draft. But, you know, maybe it's just something that the team has been practicing a lot and, you know, is pretty strong right now just in general, even if the Poppy is not playing into, you know, a large number of dashes. Should still be able to provide some really solid front line, right? And being able to sort of disrupt those mid-game team fights with the Keeper's Verdict can be really, really valuable just in general. So we'll see how the Poppy pick does end up working out. But the Kai'Sa coming through here on B2 for the side of Ollie. Obviously, still an extraordinarily meta pick there as well. Great alongside the Rel. But the Xayah coming out in response is, of course, a very well-known counter pick also.
It's just so nice if you think about the champions that Ollie VAM plays, right? He plays Lee Sin, he plays Jarvan. The Flag and Drag just gets stopped there by the Poppy. So maybe there's going to be a Hecarim or a Nocturne. We're going to see. I think it's a very solid pickup of picking up the Xayah. He's very reliable AD carry on his own. He doesn't have to need that much help. And you have also some nice engage. And, of course, the Trash Lantern. Get you to safety in the last second. As you see here, Vex being picked up. So this is what we talked about earlier, right? They're going to play heavy mages in mid. It's going to be a lot of topside play probably. And it's very static bot lane. So I'm curious to see what jungle pick is going to come out here. As we see Braum being picked. Now fill me in. I'm missing something. What's going on here?
What are you missing exactly? I feel like we have both of our junglers already locked in. You know, it's the Rel for Ollie and the Vam and Panda Warriors. I am assuming it is the Poppy that is going to be the selection in that jungle role. Now just that R5 top lane pick. There's the gangplank that you did anticipate, Beetle, and the Trundle is going to be the response for Vivera into the Pirate. What do you think about that R5 counter pick? Let's jump right into that.
Well, usually you see Trundle, it's like against a very heavy stacking team comp. And if you look at the other side, well, you have Rel and you have Braum. They're pretty good targets. They have their own inherent scaling as well on magic resistant armor. So there's going to be a lot of tankiness on this Trundle. On the other hand, I wonder how he's going to deal with the barrels. There's probably going to be the Chomp Q reset, right? You're going to auto attack and then Chomp, trying to counter the barrels like that. Let's just see if he can get on top of Syndra and Kai'Sa like this. Because he still doesn't have hard CC apart from one big pillar in the middle of your entire team. And then he will run after you like a scary beast that he is.
Very true, very true. Yes, I do think that the one thing that we are distinctly lacking on the side of the Red Panda Warriors with the conclusion of this draft is definitely going to be engage, right, Beetle? As you were kind of already mentioning, you know, we have Thresh hooks here. We have potentially a Vec, you know, flying in with a big fear. We have a Trundle pillar. None of those are really the most reliable of engage tools. All can be a little bit conditional and hard to set up, but we shall see. You know, it is a composition that can be played very defensively for the Red Panda Warriors. So maybe that is just sort of more the strategy that they are looking to opt into for this first game.
Yeah, I do think we really have to check how long these games are going to be. So if you see these two team comps, I think neither of the teams really fight. They want to scale, especially the Gangplank, right? Once he gets on 6 items, you're going to get blown up really, really quickly. But the same thing on Xayah. Xayah scales also super tremendously. Poppy has the same thing. It's a lot of CC that you get out of that W. I'm just wondering as well if they can get the combo off where you have a Trundle pillar into a Poppy stun. That's usually what you did on the bot lane back in season 2 or season 3, I think it was, when the new Trundle pillar came out. So that would be really curious to see if they're going to do that. I think a very, very strong draft from both teams.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of these players getting picks that they're very, very comfortable on, right? As you were kind of highlighting over the course of the draft, you know, calling out the Gangplank for Silverback and some comfort clearly in the bot lane and in the jungle positions for the Panda Warriors as well. So we'll have to see. You know, we're about halfway through our spectator delay already, Beetle. Before we go into this first break, maybe if we could get a prediction from you. Now that we do see the compositions fully formed, you know, Ollie and the Vam.
I know I'm going to cast a curse them.
Favorites.
Well, no, I'm just going to give it to Red Panda Warriors. They have been trying 3 seasons now. Like they have been over time, watching their matches. Draft got a lot stronger. I still think maybe a little bit more engaged could have helped, but we're going to see. Maybe there are geniuses that have a master plan that I'm not aware of. So I hope they're going to prove me wrong and they're going to take game 1.
All right, we'll see if the comfort picks and the scrappy underdog mentality is going to be able to get a Red Panda Warriors over the line, or if Ollie and the Vam will take their expected first win of the night. We're going to go into that short break. On the other side, the first game of this best of 3 round playoffs. We'll see you there. Welcome to Summoner's Rift for our first game of the night. Ollie and the Vam on the blue side, the Red Panda Warriors on the red for our first game. Any runes or summoner spells that you would like to draw our attention to, Beetle?
I would like to draw our attention first, actually, maybe to this top lane evade. Look at that Mission Impossible going through the bushes. Cue up the
Taking a
team
look here.
music.
They are going to
Find
get
the
spotted out by Ponticus.
He doesn't have
On the
flash, so
tunnel.
if they flash after him, it's going to be a lot of damage there.
That's true, but he is pretty close to his own teammates as well. They're not going to fully commit for this play. Just going to get a little bit of deep vision in the enemy red side jungle. Ours Occidendi has gone for the reset, placed a ward somewhere. It looks like the Poppy actually. Oh, we got a death sentence connecting. As Vivera comes in over the wall. Ghosty is ignited, burning down, trying to flash away, but the first blood will come through. Nightlon with the flash follow, and Xayah picks it up.
Scary, scary. Mission failed, boys. We'll get him next time. As you see here, Kai'Sa sadly falling. Ghosty getting hooked there. That's really unfortunate if you want to have a good start, right?
The Kai'Sa had cleanse, but elected not to use it, and ended up costing them their life. Really unfortunate there.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you took the positive side, there's two flashes also used on the other side, right? No summoners. Big trade happening.
Hang on a second. We are ghosting up here. Silverback is going to flash away and barely survive. But oh my goodness, the Red Panda Warriors are coming out swinging in this first game.
Oh, they were ready to make a statement here. Gangplank is sitting there with 100 HP. I think he tapped 2 HP actually there. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, summoners. Do you still want to talk about the summoners?
Oh my god, wait. We have time. We have time.
Ponticus, please leave him alone. We need to talk about summoners. Yes, let's actually look at the summoners, because we have Ponticus, right? He's running the ghost, especially for the gap closing that we talked about during Champs. You want to have some sort of gap close, and Trundle can only run. What's the best way to make him run faster at you is by picking ghosts, right? One hell of a speedy demon that's going to run after you. On the other hand, with the standard summoners on the junglers, right? Flash, Smite, just like it's supposed to be. You need to put Smite on the F key, Flash on D. And we have on the bot side, we see a cleanse set up for one side. Ghosty looking to get rid of that death sentence.
Oh, we got to play in the middle. As Olivam looking for Maneki here. The Vex in trouble. No flash. Maneki gonna have a hard time getting underneath this turret. The crash down comes through. One more dark. But it's Occidendi here for the counter gank. And the Vex will barely survive. Not able to get that rel into the wall, though. And Poppy does not have enough damage by herself. So ours, better late than ever, does manage to make it over and defend his mid laner.
Yeah, it's not going to be too much damage because he does have the TP. He can come back. Very, very safe play as well from Syndra to save that flash there.
Oh, Silverback.
Stop fighting.
Silverback in the top lane is getting chomped a little bit.
Doesn't look like fun.
Oh, it does not look like fun. Getting eaten by a troll, not really on my list of things that I enjoy doing necessarily. Oh, the play backwards onto 2. Olivan, pretty low HP here, is going to get over the wall with the crash down. They're going to be able to get the start of the Braum, but the rel is going to drop as the first kill of this fight. And now Kerry Wang's already used the stand beside me. He's not going to be able to stand beside anybody. It's looking like it will, in fact, be the grave for Kerry Wang. That's number 2 for Xayah in this game. Nightline already looking a little bit strong. It's going to get chunked a little bit out by the Kai'Sa passive, but it is, once again, the Red Panda Warriors winning out on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, very, very smart play there. They recognized as well, you know, Vex came back. And that immediately, if Vex comes back, he's going to have an item advantage. So you want to use that spike a little bit on contesting the scuttle. They contested a bit scarily because, you know, Vex, full HP, full mana, is going to join that fight, do a lot of damage. And the other side, we have as well Xayah, who still has that kill advantage. It's just too late at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just the side of the Red Panda Warriors that were a little bit set up there for that scrap in the river. You know, like you were just saying, Vex had just teleported back, had the earlier rotation. Didn't actually end up mattering for how the fight ended up playing out because just the 3-man squad from the Panda Warriors was able to collapse in faster. And they are up now in this early game, Beetle, by about 1.5K. Pretty significant gold lead this early on.
Yeah, well, they're working hard for it. They're fighting a lot, especially on top side as well. As you see, the hook being landed here.
Yeah, everybody's pretty healthy for now. You know.
I just want to highlight real quick in how that transitioned. You know, like you gank on the mid side and you have Rel and
Absolutely.
Syndra fighting the Vex there. Just leave the
Oh,
man
the
alone.
top
He's just
laners.
trying to be a pirate.
Ponticus is taking a lot of return damage from the gangplank here. Sheen completed for Silverback is starting to be able to fight back in this matchup.
That's very smart play actually for Ponticus. Like trading really, really hard. You know, the bounce rule. You push really hard, TP back, and then you're gonna have a little bit of advantage in tempo because you're gonna be full. What I was trying to say earlier from Rel, you know, use summoners early, fuck around and find out. Basically, this was happening. Rel used flash there on mid side during that gank, and you see summoners are pretty crucial when you have early fights, especially as Rel when you don't have that much escape. So
Yeah.
I'm really, really curious to see now how Red Panda Warriors is gonna play now that they are the ones that have a little bit more summoners, especially on the bot side, right? Rom doesn't have flash, Oli still doesn't have flash as well. On the other side, you have having Hex flash. It's a lot of opportunities now.
Certainly, certainly. On the other hand, though, Beetle, you did mention in the drafting phase, sort of towards the end of the drafting phase, that neither one of these Oh, hang on a second. We're Hex flashing. Ours is going to be looking for this pirate in the top lane, but Silverback does have some citrus
No
fruit.
flash.
He should probably be okay here, right? I mean, Subjugate is also available, but the pirate is going to be able to get back to his turret, and now we have a Rel here to join the party. Cannon Barrage comes down. Ollie Vam going to be able to jump in here. Subjugate will be utilized. I believe that was onto the Rel, so some extra resistances for Ponticus. We'll push back the pirate and the horse lady for now, but ours is maybe overstayed a little bit in the rotation from the mid laner as well. Silverback going to be able to put Ollie and the Vam onto the board with their first kill of the game. Ponticus will be able to retreat underneath the turret, and Maneki will be able to shove the wave in mid. But a nice movement there, a nice rotation from Ollie and the Vam's mid laner.
Yeah, definitely. As Drake, he has to trade a couple of waves there, but I think it's really, really worth it if you get the jungler out of that equation. Flash being
Flashing
used.
for the play. Yeah.
Crazy. They're aggressive. Red Panda Warriors are out for blood this game. Using summoners left and right, and there you see as well Vex trying to help a little bit. It does get spotted on.
Yeah, we have the
Running out
ultimate,
board, I think.
so we can fish here. Vivera probably wants to tank the turret if we are actually going for this dive.
TPs.
We do connect the Shadow Surge. Who is taking up the turret, though? Oh, it's actually just one-shot the Kaisa. They didn't even see anybody pick up turret aggro. That was a very quick execution, I suppose, on that dive.
Yeah, and that's going to cost a lot of gold for Ghosty. He's going to lose 4 waves there, I think, in total.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you also have a plate that being handed over. If I can just really quickly highlight the gold difference as well now between these two AD carries. 42 to 65 CS and 2 assists versus 2 deaths. It's a big difference as we see Scuttle being contested here.
Well, Rift Herald looks like we'll go over to Ollie and the Vam. There is vision in this pit right now, but ours and Ponticus, not really a great way to move into the river to contest, because of course their mid laner was just on that bottom side of the map to go for the play in the bot lane. So they will cede control over the top side river, and the Herald will go over to Ollie and the Vam. But ultimately,
it's a good old League of Legends game where just everything is happening at the same time. See a bot
well,
lane.
that's kind of what you want to see, right? You want to see
Bot lane already having a
cross-mapping.
double difference in gold. It's a very big difference actually. Oh, I didn't realize how much
Sure
gold it is. Zaya's gonna be really, really scary this game. Yeah, honestly, once you have a lead like this on the bot side, you should just start contesting dragons. Use that gold a little bit. Zaya's freezing here nicely, stacking up the waves so she can crash double waves at the same time. That's gonna be probably, as we see Poppy also pathing to bot side, the start of the first dragon. Fertile dragon, so we're not gonna have a lot of damage this game with the dragons.
Right.
You did you ever play dragon roulette? Basically, you pour a bunch of shots at the same time. I know we're not supposed to be talking about drinking. Sorry, Logic. You put a bunch of shots down at the same time, and once it's like an infernal, you take a Jägermeister shot. Do that for 5 games in solo queue, and you're gonna have a good experience. And then you're gonna wonder why your teammates are being bad in the game.
Yeah, try that one at home, guys. That one sounds like it's
Don't drink, don't
really,
drink, don't
improve
drink.
the gameplay. This is a Beetle guarantee right here.
Oh, man,
But we do have the dragon being considered right now. We have the side of the Red Panda Warriors trying to get some priority in this bot lane at the moment. They will have to contend. Well, it looks like the Herald actually was already utilized in the mid lane to actually pick up a couple of plates there, as we do see the hook land. Wang gonna get flayed backwards. A lot of damage coming out there. The Unbreakable must have already been used, and the Brahm's just going to get it. The feathers ripping right through him. That is going to be number 3 for Nightlon. Now, they will get control in this bot lane, and this should be an early dragon over to Red Panda Warriors.
Yeah, Braun trying to jump back to Ghosty, but Vivera is pulling a really nice
They are
back with
actually
the
looking
play.
for
As we see
another play
engage,
down
Brill,
here.
a lot of
Yeah, the
CC.
Cannon Barrage on top as well for the extra damage. Thresh gonna be able to get that kill onto the Kaisa. Olivam flashing away now, trying to stay safe underneath this tier 1 turret. And Will,
I was just about to highlight like how much CC they have on the side of Red Panda Warriors in this for just having a Thresh. And the Poppy doing a lot of work with the ultimate there. Wow. I don't know how they're gonna come back from this. Like, the bot lane looks pretty doomed for me, honestly. 0-5 on the bot side. Red Panda Warriors playing really, really well. Nightlon having the game of his lifetime. 3-0-3 on the Zaya. You see the first dragon being picked up here.
Really clean on the execution of these turret dives in the bot lane. It's been working out extraordinarily well for the Red Panda Warriors. And Beetle, if I recall correctly, you actually were anticipating Ponticus to be on like a carry this game, that maybe the Panda Warriors were more likely to play through the top lane, but doesn't really seem to be the case here in game number 1, as the Unleashed Power will come out. Maneki okay for now.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if Ponticus is going to play a hyper carry and then they're going to focus through top side, but you know, once you have this situation where the bot lane is doing really, really well, might as well just play through bot. Teams that are versatile and switching around who they're going to play, of course, is what makes the difference between a winner and a loser, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Being able to adapt.
You know, it is going to be a little bit of a more carry-oriented build, at least, for the Trundle. And it looks like he is going for the Trinity Force there into one of the Hydra items. So, you know, this is a pretty potent, sort of high-damage build on the Trundle. Not necessarily playing for team fights. Really seems like that's more of a build for the side lane, for trying to play for that split push win condition.
I would be surprised, honestly, as well, if Ponticus tends to go for the stride break in this game, seeing how little amount of dashes there. It's all about running them down, right? Look at Ghosty, he only has 1 cleanse, no other dashes. Maybe he can get into stealth with a little bit of his abilities, but in reality, you just want to run them down. And I think maybe stride breaker might be also a really, really good option here. Does build out of the same items that he has right now.
The stride breaker for the Trundle you were suggesting?
Doesn't it? No, it doesn't build out a sheet anymore.
No, it
I think I'm playing too many dragon games already.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, the stride breaker could be an interesting option for the Trundle this game. You know, if he did want to build more towards those team fights. And side laning against the Gangplank, I think, can be difficult, especially because the Gangplank has that ultimate to sort of join in on the cross-map plays without actually physically being there, right? You know, the power of the global on the Pirate. So we'll see what Ponticus is going to decide to go for, what the option is going to be.
Bot lane again, Osidendi and Maneki are ready to perform another dive. Poor bot lane.
A huge minion wave here, so this is a little bit hard force, but in comes the Shadow Surge over the top, the double TP to try and defend for Ollie and the Van, but the first kill has already gone over. The Unleashed Power is going to be able to trade back one onto the support. Silverback here for the play, but the Blade Caller is absolutely massive from Nightlon, and these blinking health bars underneath the turret. Ponticus is also teleported down, and it's an absolute slaughter. It is a massacre for the Red Panda Warriors. They will paint Summoner's Rift red with the blood of Ollie and his Vam in the bot lane as the gold lead explodes here towards 4,000 at 14 minutes.
Well, Red Warrior Pandas are making their name true. They're definitely red after that dive. Holy moly, 4 for 1 there. All Summoners being blown on the side of Ollie and the Vam. Wow, that Feather Storm and Blade Collar combo from Nightlon was insane.
So much
doing
damage.
So much damage, and also being so patient, as we see here as well how the fight turns out, right? You have a little bit of scrappiness. The TP is delayed there from Syndra, and I think as well the Gangplank also a little bit delayed, and it's just Feather Storm just did everything there. Blade Collar, so much damage, ripping through 3 people at the same time.
Yeah,
wow.
It did seem that Silverback maybe was slightly late to that play. I didn't really feel like that was necessarily a deciding factor on how that ended up working out. I mean, ultimately, I think, okay, hang on, hook in the mid lane, Carry Wang in trouble. Not really going to be able to stand beside anybody. Just going to try and flash away. Actually does get back towards the turret, but it's not enough, as Nightline with another Blade Caller is going to be able to pick up kill number 4. And this Xayah is going to have 2 items in the very, very near future.
Yeah, Nightline playing out of his mind this game, doing so much damage, and it's also being super patient here. As we see Olivam trying to look for the side, Nightline respecting it, seeing it on the ward a little bit. There's another Herald going out, and probably also the next Dragon is going to go to Red Warrior Pandas. I am curious to see what are they going to do for the comeback strategy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one for OLI and the VAM, right? They are down extremely significant. Oh, that was almost so clean. It was so clean from Esbraj, but unfortunately not quite enough damage to burst down that Xayah. Nightline will barely survive. The Xayah didn't have ultimate there either, so that was actually a really good look from Az. Mid laner there for OLI and the VAM, just not quite enough damage. Ooh, does find another scatter here onto Vivera. Death sentence just short there. Nice backstep from Az.
Stuck.
Is Vivera in trouble here? The Glacial Fissure will connect onto ours. TP coming in from the Vex. Maneki gonna look for this play. The Shadow Surge. Is it going to connect? Oh, just wide. Cannot find the angle with the ultimate. The dodge is good for OLI and the VAM. But river control is now held by the Red Panda Warriors, looking to secure their second dragon of the game. They have the lead in terms of health bars, except for their Thresh, but Vivera's probably feeling pretty decent about sticking around to support the team for this one. Even Trundle has rotated down towards the mid lane here, so has that Rift Herald in tow as well.
Yeah, as you see here, the Red Panda Warriors starting up that dragon. They're just going to play it pretty safe, go for a dragon, and maybe push out the mid.
Yeah,
I think it's really dependent on how Ponticus, like this game, if I look at the draft, right? These two teams had a clear plan, and I think what went wrong is that Ponticus is winning from Silverback quite hard with the trades at the early game. So they don't need to really focus there, right? Olivam is slowly falling behind a little bit on the... Actually, he's not really, he's ahead in gold, sorry.
It looks like Shirley is actually not going to get the charge here. Ponticus not able to push this wave in the 1v2. Is not going to try and force that too hard. So good denial there from OLI and the VAM. But I think you're pretty much right on the money there, Beetle. You know, Ponticus with the R5 Trundle, right, had the R5 counter pick. This isn't necessary.
Silverback.
Really
oh,
nice
he's stuck.
He's got the pirate cornered exactly where he wants him. No flash. Just going to get absolutely eviscerated there by the Troll King. Ponticus just beats him over the head.
You see what it opens up, right? You have to send 2 people immediately to respond to Ponticus, and then at the same time you have mid lane just being tested. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for another dive here with the Thresh. Vivera's already looking on the side, trying to get some vision in. That turret is going to fall really, really quickly if they don't do anything about it. Arso Sandy is getting ready for another dive. You would imagine if you go from bot side to mid side, you're no longer going to get ganked, but that jungler doesn't want to listen.
Couldn't quite get the Kai'Sa into the wall. That will be Ghosty, able to flash away, able to stay alive. That is Kai'Sa flash and Syndra TP. All for ours, just poking his head into the mid lane.
As it was a good response as well to use the TP there, just in case, because if you get stunned there as Ghosty, you're probably going to get out anyways with the clans anyways. You're going to be able to stall a little bit, and if they would keep diving there, AZ would clean everybody up. So it's a good response. Good response also from Red Panda Warriors to get out of that situation. So you see the split pushing happening now on the side, right?
I loved... Oh, Maneki. Some power unleashed on him here, but again, not quite enough damage for Az. The Liandry's build this game for the Syndra, better in terms of the extended fight. You know, he's going to do more damage to tanks, to the front line, to the Trundle and the Poppy. You know, that's clearly the idea with this build, but it does mean that the Syndra has less burst and doesn't really have as easy of a time trying to execute these squishier targets. We got a
And
little bit of
going
play
in.
in the mid lane. The Magnet Storm onto 2. Sorry to interrupt you there, Beetle. As the
know.
the flash for the Blade Caller, so clean from Nightline. Carry Wing is going to put up the door, but it's a little bit late at this point as the Braum is going to get taken down as well, and now it's just Ollie Vam. The Rel doesn't have any damage, doesn't have a prayer here. There's one more feather in the back. It's going to be Nightline 6-0 and 8 now
Maneki is on both
in this
sides.
game. Maneki looking for Asbrash, but the Syndra will be able to create enough distance. Flash just now coming off cooldown for the Vex, and Baron just now spawning onto the Rift. Beetle already under fire after the 3-for-0 in mid lane. Red Panda Warriors straight onto the objective, and this game, number 1, Beetle, is incredibly one-sided.
Well, I think RCN can just give himself a shoulder pad of objective controls. 5 objectives already going to Red Panda Warriors. Sorry, actually, the first Herald didn't go over. Four objectives. He's doing a phenomenal job here for a gold jungler. He's not looking like a gold jungler. I think he's a very, very... Think about this. 3 versus 2, mid lane fight turning into a Baron. That's not what you want to have happening for them.
Oh,
what a Blade
that
Caller.
Blade Caller flash, that E-flash from
I'm just
Nightline.
like, my jaw's dropping for this one. It's beautiful. What a play.
Yeah.
Nightlon is playing out his mind. I wouldn't be surprised if he's
Execution.
going to see Isaiah Ben.
Oh, yeah. I think that certainly
Oh,
can be
Ghosty,
expected.
Ghosty.
Ghosty in trouble. That's going to be the Poppy flashing in, puts up the Steadfast Presence, and Ghosty has no way out of this one. That is going to be Maneki now on a rampage on this Vex, and Dragon spawning in a minute. It's going to be really, really difficult for Ollie and the Vam to regain any kind of control in this bot side jungle. They are down 8,000 gold now, Beetle. Do you think there's honestly any way for Ollie and the Vam to come back right now in this game 1? We're already sieging onto the base.
Silver in the back. If he can get really, really good barrels here, they have good wave clear. They can turtle for a long time. Even with this Baron, you see, like, they have to just back off. Bounties are doing a lot of work here. See, all the towers, especially mid tower and the bot tower, they're pretty low. If you combine those together with a dragon, you're going to be up again 3k gold.
Yeah, the bounties, of course, are available. So that can be an option, but Mountain Soul is on the horizon. This is something that Ollie and the Vam do have to be very, very worried about. But we just saw Asbrash actually get the ultimate off of Nightlon in the mid lane, so that is potentially a big deal. If the side of Ollie and the Vam decide they do want to contest at this third dragon, giving over Mountain Soul Point can be extremely dangerous. There's so much pressure right now being put on by the Panda Warriors as Ponticus just split pushing with the Baron buff in the side lane, is drawing multiple members over here. Is going to go for the kill actually onto Silverback in the 1v3. Is going to find it easily. Will Ponticus is going to get traded back though. There's too much CC with the Braum. The last auto attack will come through and the shutdown will go over to Ghosty.
Really
but
good.
Mountain Soul Point will be forfeit, and it's still the Red Panda Warriors winning out, I think, on that play.
This is really good though for the situation. If you try to come back trading here in these situations like that, 1-for-1 is really, really good. If you have to consider as well that there was 800 gold traded over, right? Like 1 kill, 350 or 300 gold. That's a lot of gold that's coming. She also just finished an item, I think. Yeah, the Clothiel Hammer is here coming out. If they keep doing this, if they keep trading 1-for-1, they can give themselves a potential to come back. Right? You see the gold discrepancy also is slowly getting smaller percentage-wise. It's only the same flat amount. But if you're going to have 50k for 60k, 10k difference, it's not the same as if you have 10k for...
You are, of course, technically correct, Beetle, which, as many people do say, is the best kind of correct. But I think we're going to need to see a lot more trade deals here.
Of course, like it's not an easy situation. It's not that if you just trade 1 kill, it's going to be really, really hard. Red Panda Warriors still have to be very careful with where they tread lightly.
Yeah, I mean, Kaisa did manage to get that big shutdown, but is still down over 3,000 gold individually, as we can see in this matchup. A severe disadvantage for the AD carry of Ollie. And, they do have some scaling elements in this draft, as you had pointed out for us before, in the Gangplank. Kaisa scales reasonably well also. Syndra also scales much, much better than she used to in previous iterations of the champions. So, there are going to be opportunities for Ollie and the Vam if they can hang on in this game, but I think that is going to be much, much easier said than done.
Yeah, especially if a level 15 topside hammering down your turrets, it's not going to be easy. It is very important, though, that they're going to clear out this game quite quickly. If they go to 6 items, I'm not sure if they will versus a good Syndra and a Rel, right? That they're gonna CC a lot.
Oh, Asbrash
See,
is in
actually,
a lot of
Syndra.
trouble up here. Oh, it does land the scatter, and that is going to be enough of a disengage. It's, plated steel caps for the Trundle, so no tenacity in the build. Those scatters do stun you up for quite a while.
I think Red Panda Warriors are just trying to wait for the Baron here and getting the soul, right? Play it safe, clear out the jungle. No need to rush things. No action is also an action, if I quote LS.
I mean, in a playoffs match like this, when the stakes are high, you know, I do think that's probably the correct way to go about it, wouldn't you say, Beetle? You know, you don't want to be
mess up
making any
once,
careless
right?
mistakes.
If everybody, imagine if they ace them, right? In this situation, Red Panda Warriors, one ace would reset the gold instantly with all the bounties. It's very, very scary. Like, you make one mistake, you worked so hard for the lead. Make one mistake, your lead is gone. And I think Red Panda Warriors recognize that as well, really well. They're just playing safe, playing for the objectives, losing maybe mid tower here.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, Asbrash has actually been having a pretty awesome performance this game on the Syndra. Is actually, maybe in trouble right here, as that's going to be ours flashing in. Is a little bit ahead of the rest of the team, though, and the Poppy might get burst down here. That will come through. Silverback is going to be able to pick up a kill to start this fight off, but it's Ponskis on the big flank trying to cut off the escape path, but the Trundle, not too tanky either, is also going to get burned down, and it's a battle of inches. There's so many blinking health bars on the side of Ollie and the Vamp, but they do manage to pick up a triple kill for Ghosty on this Kaisa. They win out 4 for 2 in the team fight while down almost 10,000 gold, Beetle.
I need to stop casting. Honestly, I'm cursing everybody. I say what will happen, right? You lose one team fight, it's going to look disastrous for you. The gold is still a little bit even, but you also have to recognize where the gold went. And Ghosty picked up 3 kills there.
Huge.
That is not good. At least for
with that 80 carry gold differential down to about 2,500 now, but now we're going to take a look at the replay, Beetle.
Yeah, it's just crazy if you see it as well, that the keeper's verdict here misses from Poppy, that engage just like falls apart. Then you see Ponticus running in from the backside after TPing, but he's going to get locked down immediately there from the Bromstone. There's not much you can do. You're just standing there taking a lot of damage. Maybe some kills go out, but you know, Silverback doing so much damage there with the Gangplank passive and the barrels. And I feel like as well that Nightlon wasn't really in that fight there in the end. He was chasing a little bit on the side. Maybe that could have made the difference. But we'll see with the next Dragon fight here.
Absolutely, Beetle. I mean, I really do think that the story there for the side of the Red Panda Warriors was just a little bit disjointed. I think that, scatter onto Nightlon. Doesn't have the ultimate right now, but will be okay for now. Does get chunked out a little bit. As the fight is bringing out the Glacial Fisher, also connecting onto the Xayah, but the Braum is just going to get absolutely popped. Did not survive for very long whatsoever, and Asbrash completely zoned out of the fight over here on the left-hand side. 5v4 on Summoner's Rift now in favor of the Panda Warriors. They're going to be set up on this Dragon. This is Mountain Soul that is going to come through for the Red Panda Warriors. Absolutely game-winning buff. Ours, though, off on the side. Might get caught out. Maneki, though, finds Asbrash. Is going to go Golden. Has a Lantern here to try and get out as well. Might have a hard time clicking on it, though. And the Vex is going to get taken down, but they're in trouble as well. The Thresh also wants to flash in for Ollie Bam there. The big engage. And the Unleashed Power coming out as well. Ours is very, very speedy. The Poppy will be able to dash away. The Mountain Soul will go over, but these fights, we've seen a couple in a row now go the way of Ollie.
That was absolutely crazy. They looked like they were winning the fight, and then suddenly it just all turns around. Such a great stun there from Isbray. He's playing so good. And at the same time, Olivam, you know, the Rel CC is just tremendous. You can't really escape that, especially if you don't have a Trundle there trying to hit the backline. I don't think it was the greatest fight for Red Panda Warriors, and you see that as well with the Dragon or the Baron that they immediately lose.
Carry Wang is getting subjugated right now in the bot lane. The Trundle looking like he will probably drop, and that is, in fact, what is going to happen. So the side of Ollie and the Vam do lose their support, but they still have Baron buff on 4. We do have Silverback in position to defend the inhibitor line right now, and they will be able to get another little bit of gold for themselves with this mid-tier 1.
That went from 10k to 2k. It's a big difference suddenly as you see Silverback also fighting the
Pole Breaker Trundle. Is not taking any damage from this Gangplank right now whatsoever. One more bonk from the club, and that's going to be a shutdown that will go over to Ponticus. So now that's 2 Baron buffs knocked off.
It suddenly turned around, real quick. I think Red Panda Warriors have to be really, really careful on the next moves that they make, because if Ghosty gets more kills, he probably will be able to carry this game. Ollie and the Vam looking comfortable so far. They are getting picked off left and right, a little bit on the side lanes.
Oh,
But they
Ghosty
can
just
clear
got
the
played
waves.
in. Oh, just barely. He does manage
Ghosty.
to get away from the Blade Caller. Baron buff still on for about
It's all
90
about clearing
seconds.
waves right now. Trying to survive a little bit with the Baron's buff. Clear the waves until you get Gangplank back up so he can contest the Trundle on the side. Baron is going to be there for only in 4 minutes. At the same time when Elder is going to spawn. So we're going to see what they're going to do and what they're going to choose for. It's looking tense. It's not that easy to close out this game at this point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at like an 9,000 gold lead earlier. That has shrunk down now to just 3,000, as the side of Ollie and the Vam have really been able to come back in a couple of these team fights. For the side of the Red Panda Warriors, just a little bit disjointed. You know, people kind of going in at different times when, you know, not all of the team is actually present, and kind of getting burst down. You know, there is a lot of burst damage in the composition for Ollie and the Vam, right? You have the crits from the Gangplank, you have the Syndra damage, the Kaisa damage, that all comes out very quickly.
It's insane wave clear, and trying to fight against a team that can wave clear that well. Only comes down to splitting. Ours
has to flash away from that Rel stun.
Not be having flash then for the next Baron and Dragon fight, so it'll be interesting to see.
We'll have the Hex Flash though.
That's true. There is a Hex Flash. We still have HP gauge.
Yeah, still some time before those objectives, and I mean, props to Ollie and the Vam. This is kind of, you know, what we would expect, I suppose, you know, from the higher seeded team, able to stay cool in these really difficult game states and try and find avenues to come back for themselves. But ultimately, I do think that this is still Red Panda Warriors' game to lose. I mean, they have the Mountain Soul, which is quite strong into this composition of Ollie and the Vam. So assuming they can clean up the team fighting a little bit and make sure that they are all on the same page, I do think that they are still favored in this game. Ponticus now level 18 on the Trundle. Will have his 4th item very, very soon. Going to be pretty much untouchable in that side lane in that 1v1.
I really want to point out one thing though, if I can look at the itemization especially. But Ghosty is free to build full glass cannon. There's barely anybody that can touch him in this situation, and the only person that can touch him really is Ponticus, or if Arsene gets on top of him. I don't think he's gonna get hit by Maneki if you look at the Braum standing in front of you always with a big shield, right? But it does make the difference in Nightlon having to itemize as well versus getting hit by that ultimate. Does not seem fun. So you have to get that Maw Mortius in order to get the big shield and survive, but it does cost you a little bit of damage. And I think that damage is crucial in these team fights, because they're always like 100 or 200 HP in difference. As we see an engage here, maybe, Arsa Sandy.
Looking for it, but once again, cannot quite get his target into the wall. Be able to blast Cone Nightlon towards safety. Dragon coming up now in 90 seconds, getting a little bit closer, Beetle.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish here real quick. Nightlon is going to be hurting a little bit and having to itemize a little bit for the Syndra. It's only 65 flat 80 damage, right? You don't get that much stats only after the shield, but probably when you get hit by the shield, you're going to try to run away really quickly, because anything will kill you.
Yeah, I do feel like at this point in the game, the side of the Red Panda Warriors do have to kind of play these fights out pretty defensively. I mean, we were talking, you know, right from Champion Select, right from the beginning of the game, right, about how they're a little bit lacking in terms of engage tools. It's really difficult to hard force these fights. A little bit of chip damage onto Az. Syndra level 16. Keeper's Verdict not going to find the mark. That was a cute attempt from the Panda Warriors. They went for the pincer movement towards the mid lane here with Vivera on the other side, but nobody able to find their mark. Trundle split pushing right now in the top lane. Ponticus looking to do some more damage to the base. Dragon coming up now very, very soon in just 20 short seconds. Both top laners with teleport and join the rest of the team if they so desire.
Nightlon has the last whisper, so he will be able to do a little bit more damage there.
Yeah,
clearing out, waiting for the next objective, and I think Red Panda Warriors are really comfortable seat here. If you look at the amount of vision that they have cleared for themselves.
Yeah,
I think there's barely any vision, right? Yeah, it's actually
really nice.
They can't see anything.
Servers, yeah. Really difficult now for Ollie and the Vam to force their way in here. Vivera's going to flash forward for the hook, but is not going to find it, though. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Trundle is going to solo kill Gangplank underneath the inhibitor turret. And now it's the side of Ollie and the Vam. They have to back away. They have to go back to defend the Nexus immediately. They cannot stick around to contest the objective. Their top laner has been taken out. If they don't go back right now, Trundle will take the Nexus. An Elder for Nexus trade is not something that you are going to want to opt in for.
They can get Ponticus, they might even contest the Baron here.
Yeah, Ponticus is going to have the Elder buff, not going to have the Elder buff as the Unleashed power comes out. And Asbrash does get the shutdown, but Elder on now for 4 and straight over to the Baron for the Panda Warriors. It is an honest 4v4 right now.
I hope the Warriors are going to engage this fight. If they recognize as well that they're in a comfortable situation here with the Elder, they're going to just start a fight instead of Baron.
I don't think Ollie and the Van can realistically contest here. I mean, they're going to try and force their way in. I guess the call is if we get Baron, we just lose the game. But the objective will go over, and now they have to run. They have to get out of here immediately. Looks like they will be able to escape, including Ghosty off towards the top side there, but that's going to be double Uber buffs on for a couple of minutes and should be enough for the Panda Warriors to close this one out.
Yeah, dying there from Silverback is not the greatest thing for your team, I think. Especially if you have a team trying to contest the 4v4 there. You're forcing your team to go back. As you see Nightlon here getting caught out, maybe?
A little bit caught out. Yeah, the Thresh is going to get taken down. Chasing into the back line is the... And the Gangplank is going to be able to get the shutdown onto the Xayah as well. Nightlon been taken down for only the second time this game, and that is really big for Ollie and the Van, able to knock off several of those really powerful buffs.
Especially if we think about what we talked about earlier, right, about the wave clear. They realistically don't have any wave clear without Nightlon. So if Nightlon dies in that situation, you just basically can't push. And that completely nullifies the entire thing of having an Elder and having a Baron. Unless they can get a really good fight here.
Oh, Van's going to find the engage again onto Ponticus, but in comes Maneki. Absolutely massive. Finds the execution onto the backline, gets both carries, does the Vex, and now Olivam's not going to be able to get away either. It's going to be the Braum beat down by Ponticus on the side, and now only Silverback left to defend for 40 seconds against ours and Maneki. Oh, and we've got Ponticus who's teleported into the top lane as well. I don't think the Gangplank can hold this one.
Maneki with the saving of the day just ults in. Even though they're outnumbered, he still recognizes that they have Elder and he just goes for it. Ponticus is hammering at the tower, and I think this is GG.
It certainly is. You know, Silverback has some damage, almost gets the kill onto the Trundle there, but ultimately it's not going to be enough. The Nexus will fall at 37 minutes for the Red Panda Warriors as the underdogs take game number 1.
Wow. No, I have a big smile on my face. I know that my prediction went the correct way.
It sure did.
Warriors, they just, they gave me such a, like, how do you call it, a heart attack. Getting aced a couple of times, losing some objectives in crucial moments. I don't think it was really the way that they wanted to close out this game, but they finally did it anyway. Nightlon playing out of his mind. And there at the end can finally rely on Maneki, clearing out the enemy team.
Yeah, I do agree, Beetle. This was certainly not the cleanest League of Legends that we've ever witnessed. I do think with the massively, I mean, this was really nice how they were able to stack up that advantage in the bot lane.
Don't worry, the Red Panda Warriors knew exactly what they were doing. They were executing their plan perfectly. At the end, it was a bit scrappy, but you also have to consider it as best of 3, right? So it's just the blade color is just so beautiful. I can't.
I mean, this whole sort of sequence of plays where they got Nightlon so far ahead was absolutely game defining. And Nightlon, as you already mentioned, Beetle, with a fantastic performance on the Xayah counterpick into the Kai'Sa, right? Played it out very, very nicely. But for the side of the Red Panda Warriors, you know, I do feel with that huge lead that they were able to stack up. They should have been able to close things out a little bit cleaner than what actually ended up happening.
Well, it's a best of 3, right? You also kind of want to test out the enemy, figuring out how they're playing. If you have a really hard clean slate at the start, where you probably go like 20-0, you're not going to see much of the enemy team. So maybe it was also a strategy. It could also be, right? Testing out the water, see what they can do to come back and who's going to be their key players. Because if I see that Gangplank again in late game, I'm scared and maybe ban it out in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie and the Vam definitely did make it a little bit difficult for them, and Overback on the comfort pick, on the gangplank, on their main, was able to top out the damage charts despite taking the loss, Beetle. It was Silverback on top with 31k. Second place, actually, was his mid laner, Asbraj, 27k on the Syndra this game. But ultimately, those leads in the solo lanes were not enough because of that huge deficit in the bot side.
Well, you know, we're going to see next game. It's only best of 3, so they have still one more chance as well to come back. Red Panda Warriors, they're looking good, looking solid after that first game. Can't wait to see more.
Absolutely. Ollie and the VAM not out of this one just yet. Like you say, Beetle, they will have the opportunity to fight back in the next game. It'll be interesting to see what kind of adaptations they decide to go for. But before then, we will go to a short break. Don't go anywhere, guys. The CWL Season 6 playoffs will continue right after this. Anybody, it's looking like it will in fact be the grave for Terry Wang. That's number 2 for Zaya in this game. Nightline already looking a little bit strong. Is going to get chunked a little bit out by the Kai'Sa. Probably be okay here, right? I mean, Subjugate is also available, but the Pirate's going to be able to get back to his turret. And now we have a Rel here to join the party. Cannon Barrage comes down. Ollie Bam going to be able to jump in here. Subjugate will be utilized. I believe that was onto the Rels with some extra resistances for Ponticus. We'll push back the Pirate and the Horse Lady for now, but ours is maybe overstayed a little bit in the rotation from the mid laner as well. Silverback going to be able to put Ollie and the VAM onto the board with their first kill of the game. Ponticus will be able to retreat under.
Impressive. Red Panda Warriors are out for blood this game. Using summoners left and right, and there you see as well Vex trying to help a little bit. It does get spotted on.
Yeah, we have the ultimate, so we can fish here. Vivera probably wants to tank the turret if we are actually going for this dive. We do connect the Shadow Surge. Who is taking up the turret, though? Oh, it's actually just one-shot the Kai'Sa. They didn't even see anybody pick up turret aggro. That was very quick execution, I suppose, on that dive.
Yeah, and that's going to cost a lot of
being considered right now. We have the side of the Red Panda Warriors trying to get some priority in this bot lane at the moment. They will have to contend. Well, it looks like the Herald actually was already utilized in the mid lane to actually pick up a couple of plates there, as we do see the hook land. Wang gonna get flayed backwards. A lot of damage coming out there. The Unbreakable must have already been used, and the Brahm's just gonna get it, the feathers ripping right through him. That is gonna be number 3 for Nightlon. Now they will get control in this bot lane, and this should be an early dragon over 3 for Nightlon. Now they will get control in this bot lane, and this should be an early dragon over to Red Panda Warriors.
Yeah, Braun trying to jump back to Ghosty, but Rivera is pulling a really nice back with the play. As we see another engage, Rel, a lot of CC.
The Cannon Barrage on top as well for the extra damage. Thresh gonna be able to get that kill onto the Kai'Sa. Ollivan flashing away now, trying to stay safe underneath this tier 1 turret. And Will,
I was just about to highlight like how much CC they have on the side.
Of course, but in comes the Shadow Surge over the top, the double TP to try and defend for Ollie and the VAM, but the first kill is already gone over. The Unleashed Power is going to be able to trade back one onto the support. Silverback here for the play, but the Blade Caller is absolutely massive from Nightlon, and these blinking health bars underneath the turret. Ponticus is also teleported down, and it's an absolute slaughter. It is a massacre for the Red Panda Warriors. They will paint Summoner's Rift red with the blood of Ollie and his VAM in the bot lane as the gold lead explodes. Get the charge here. Ponticus not able to push this wave in the 1v2. Is not going to try and force that too hard. So good denial there from Ollie and the VAM. But I think you're pretty much right on the money there, Beetle. You know, Ponticus with the R5 Trundle, right? Had the R5 counter pick. This isn't necessary.
Silverback.
Really
nice he's stuck.
He's got the Pirate cornered exactly where he wants him. No flash. Just gonna get absolutely eviscerated there by the Troll King. Ponticus just beats him over the head. Doesn't really have as easy of a time trying to execute these squishier targets. We got a little bit of play in the mid lane. The Magna Storm onto 2. Sorry to interrupt you there, Beetle. As the the flash for the Blade Caller, so clean from Nightlon. Carry Wing is going to put up the door, but it's a little bit late at this point as the Braum is going to get taken down as well. And now it's just Ollie Bam. The Rel doesn't have any damage, doesn't have a prayer here. There's one more feather in the back. It's going to be Nightlon 6-0 and 8 now.
Is on damage there.
That's true, but he is pretty close to his own teammates as well. They're not going to fully commit for this play. Just going to get a little bit of deep vision in the enemy red side jungle. Ours Occidendi has gone for the reset, placed a ward somewhere. It looks like the Poppy actually. Oh, we got a death sentence connecting.
Oh,
As Vivera comes in over the wall. Ghosty is ignited, burning down, trying to flash away, but the
Ghosty!
first blood will come through. Nightline. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cobalt Wins League. We are preparing right now to get into our Game 2 draft between the Red Panda Warriors and Ollie and the VAM. It does seem to me, Beetle, that the side of Ollie and the VAM have elected to remain on the blue side for this second game. Probably not too surprising of a decision, but it does mean that we are giving Ponticus counterpick again. What are your thoughts?
You know how when I think about the Trundle, right? It's quite troll, but at the other hand, it seemed to work out on top side because they did get a lot of pressure with it. That was a pun. Sorry,
No, that was great. That was great.
Okay,
well
thank you. I have an entire list ready. What I wanted to say is like, yeah, you know, they obviously consider Rel still one of their picks that they have to first pick. So I think that's what they're gonna focus on as well, and that's why they elected blue side. I have that first pick. On the other hand, they also maybe can see to counter bot lane a little bit better, right? Have picks very early. Gonna get a little bit more prio in that sense. Curious to see how they're gonna adapt there. But yeah,
definitely. I mean, I do feel like the Kai'Sa is a really strong pick right now, and I don't feel like the Kai'Sa pick was necessarily the problem for Ghosty in that last game, right? It was just the fact that he kept getting dove underneath the turret, and he couldn't farm for like the first 10 minutes of the game. It doesn't matter what champion you're playing, if you're just not allowed to farm any minions, then you're not going to have a great time. So I'm wondering if maybe we will see that Xayah ban. This is something that you called out during the previous game, Beetle. Is obviously a great pick into the Kai'Sa just in general, and Nightlon had such a fantastic performance on it in that previous game. I do think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's two ways that you can solve the bot lane, right? You either prevent the dives or you put the enemy carry that basically cannot dive with you. Yeah, for example, carries like Jhin. Jhin is really bad at diving. Have the ult ready. You can force something like that or get an Ezreal in there. On the other hand, you can also maybe protect your dive a little bit better. Also be by pathing to bot side for the first and second. Yeah. Instead of Braum, you can maybe have a little bit more supportive CC jungler or support. Like an Alistar, for example, or Nautilus. They can really lock people down. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do there. Especially you want to put the focus on the bot side, you know.
Yeah.
Nightlon playing out of his mind. I think he's really on fire right now. Let's see if they can shut him down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just because of how that last game went, I agree. I think we do have to keep a close eye on the bot lane this time around to see if it can be a little bit of a different story here for Ollie and his VAM in the bottom side of the map. But it should be getting into this draft pretty soon, guys. I'm imagining that, yeah, it seems like they are about to get into this client draft. So we will be able to see very, very shortly. I'm wondering if do you think a Gangplank ban is going to come out from the side of the Red Panda Warriors? You know, obviously they were able to defeat the Gangplank, but he did make things quite difficult towards the later stages of that game. You know, really kind of was able to stall things out pretty nicely for the side.
If you look at the bans, I think Gangplank seems the more logical one. Though I would prefer a little bit more of a Syndra ban.
You feel like the Syndra was actually...
I feel like the Syndra was doing a lot more, yeah, especially if you look at the wave clear. Gangplank wave clear, you can counter. Syndra wave clear, you can't do anything. If they're going to pick a comp where they have very low siege, then get rid of these pretty high wave clearing champions, right?
Yeah, that sort of compounds the issue, right? If you don't have siege and then you're playing against the wave clear as well, that does tend to make things extraordinarily difficult. But here we go into our Game 2 draft. Again, guys, teams on the same sides as the previous game, but assuming that some kind of adaptations will have to come through here from Ollie.
I think, first of all, like if Ollie is on the blue side in this game, they are going to maybe pick Bell again. I want to see if Ollie will pick.
Yeah. I think the Rel pick was still good. I think we are mostly looking towards the bans in terms of our initial... Yeah, so the Xayah ban, I think, is a fantastic first step here.
Yeah, so the second option that they have then is either the Aphelios or the Ezreal, both for Ghosty and Nightlon. Quite comfortable champions. So if they're going to go for the Ezreal, you're going to have a little less prio on the bot side, right? Ezreal can't clear waves that quick like Xayah can with the No Gnar ban, though. Silverback is comfortable in letting the Gnar go, so I'm wondering how he's going to compete. Gnar is known in Cobalt Wins League for a monstrous pick.
Yeah, we shall see if that ends up getting prioritized early on for the Panda Warriors this time. I mean, I feel like Pontic has played great on the Trundle. I don't know if, the Gnar is necessarily a must pick for the side of the Panda Warriors, as it will be the Kai'Sa first pick this time. So foregoing the Rel on B1 to prioritize that Kai'Sa once again for Ghosty, and could just be the same rotation for the Panda Warriors here. Poppy Thresh is what we saw last game.
Yeah, especially if you're expecting, again, a Rel pick, then Poppy is always quite safe against that. At the other side, I think OLI also played a lot of Jarvan, so Jarvan is bad against Poppy if you have flag and drag. You see Kali getting picked?
Not a Kali.
Nautilus.
They had you going for a second there, huh, Beetle?
They definitely had me going for a second there.
Different hook champion this time around for Vivera. A little bit of a more aggressive option, I would say, than something like the Thresh.
There's the Rel pick that we expected. I would say that in this situation, maybe you would still go for Syndra, right? Syndra has seemed good last game, especially against the Poppy and Nautilus. It can do a lot of work. And then, again, you have the same problem with the high wave clear. So now you have to figure out something that you can wave clear on the side.
Yeah, I mean, Gangplank, of course, an option as well if they want to get that comfort pick for Silverback once again. It's going to be something completely different, actually, in the Ziggs. Oh. Yeah. I mean, can be really powerful with the Rel, right? Because she can set up with the CC for Ziggs to land all the skill shots.
I have not seen Asbrash play Ziggs anymore in a long time. Did he play this series? I'm just going to ask the question to the back. Well, we see also an Aurelian Soul being picked. So there's your wave clear. That's going to give also your quite a guaranteed ticket to win the late game. Aurelian Soul, very, very good scaling.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like a pretty strong response into the Ziggs. Has the wave clear to match what the Ziggs is going to offer, like you mentioned, and going to be able to, play the lane out probably pretty comfortably. Should be a pretty easy lane for the Aurelian Soul to hang out in and farm and scale up. So that does seem like a pretty strong response from the Panda Warriors, and they have the makings of a really powerful teamfight composition as well, with a lot of really great frontline already. I do like what Ollie and the VAM have so far, Beetle, as well. They have sort of the dive supplemented by the long-range Ziggs follow-up. Taking a look at this second ban phase, a couple of support options removed by the Panda Warriors, predicting that Rel is going to be going into the jungle, and the Gnar
the Trundle is getting taken away. Yeah, that's the Aphelios, like we mentioned before. It's super safe to play against the Kai'Sa in that sense. What's going to be for playing Sejuani? Or is it jungle Sejuani?
So they will move the Rel into the support position then.
Oh, wow.
Going to be able to put that Sejuani into the jungle, as you say, Beetle. And now,
don't pick the Camille.
Our top, you do not like the Camille?
No, not against Poppy. I think it's very, very scary to play Camille against the Poppy.
Riven, probably not a great option there either.
Fight's quite solid.
That is pretty solid right there, isn't it?
Told you I have a list. As you see here, Sejuani being picked up with Malphite. Malphite gonna be able to proc the melee passive here from Sejuani. I think they're just messing with us. Yeah, Malphite is just very, very safe, right? It doesn't really die on the top side. It's gonna have a very, very safe tank lane. That is a smart pickup. Now, Ornn, if you're gonna have a tank lane, Ornn does a lot of percentage HP damage. He can survive in lane. But the problem is that you have now two tanks on the top side and you have a scaling mid lane. So that focus is going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to have a lot of bot focus. Knowing Rip and the Warriors, they're just going to keep diving and diving. Knowing the other side now, Ollie and the VAM can really, really focus on getting carry away in Rel position, where he's going to CC people on the tower and hopefully survive for a little bit longer time than.
I mean, it is.
It's League of Legends, it's like the straight League of Legends that we know from big tanks top and go dive bot lane over and over again. So it's going to be exciting. I hope it's going to be a lot of kills.
Yeah, we have some pretty stock standard compositions here for game 2, I would say, Beetle. Like you say, it's a lot of frontline. That's going to be a lot of team fighting front to back, most likely. The Ziggs pick, I want to say, is probably the most interesting of the bunch, sort of the most unique, most rarely seen, maybe. But I think does work with the rest of their composition pretty well. It's like 3 tanks on either side and some
Yeah.
strong scaling marksmen in the bot lane. Maybe Aphelios with a slight edge in terms of the scaling / team fighting department, but you know, Kaisa, we know how powerful this pick is, especially if she gets ahead, so absolutely no slouch in that department either.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, I'm really happy that they picked the Aphelios on the bot side. It's a little bit of change of pace from the Ezreals that we have seen in Cobalt Wins League a lot. Aphelios obviously very, very hard champion, but it's pretty good to master.
Yeah, and I mean, after we saw such an incredible performance from Nightlon in that previous game, I think we can have faith, right, that this player is going to be able to pilot the Aphelios to a high
Nightlon,
degree
you know, he's been popping
efficiency.
off last game. I think he can pop off on Aphelios as well. Ghosty also knows how to play Aphelios, I think, if I look at his match history. So he should be aware of what the Aphelios does. And if he doesn't, then he's going to have a really, really bad time against Nightlon, who's really good at champions this game.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it is really interesting, Beetle, because these drafts are so similar. They're kind of, you know, both teams are going to be wanting to play out this game in a very, very similar fashion. So it's kind of hard to predict this one, you know, just from the champion select phase. But
putting you mentioning exactly what I want to say. Just the drafts seem very similar, but at the same time they're different. You know, it feels like they're figuring out slowly, because that's also what you do in best of threes, right? You figure out what kind of playstyle you want to go for and what seems to work for the opponents, and then put your eggs in one basket and try all out. And that's what they're doing, right? Red Panda Warriors going full for the bot side, getting 2 scaling champions in the mid and top. It seemed to work last game, so why not repeat the same thing? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Absolutely, that is what they say, and I think they do say it for good reason. You know, Nightlon, seeing if they can have another fantastic performance this game on the Aphelios. I think you're right on the money, Beetle, in terms of where the team's resources are going to be invested here for this second game as well. Eyes on that bot lane, see if Ghosty and Carry can hang on a little bit better this time around. Maybe if their jungler is going to be able to be in position to defend some more of those dots. But the Red Panda Warriors, with momentum after that Game 1 win and with a strong draft once again heading into Game 2, we shall see if they will manage to pull off the 2-0 upset win tonight, or if OLI and the VAM will bring us to Game 3. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back once again to the Rift, everybody, for our second game of the night, our second game of this best of 3. Same sides as game number 1, Ollie and the Vam, once again on blue. Panda Warriors once again on red. And, of course, with these compositions, Beetle, it looks like we're just going to have a couple of 5 points to start this one off.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have Dragon Ball Z versus Oppenheimer mid lane. It's going to be very, very exciting to see how they're going to play after having that monstrous game where they dove over and over again on the bot side. Like we said before in the draft, we're going to probably expect a lot of bot side shenanigans happening, a lot of dives. So let's take a little bit of a break as well and look at a little bit of the summoners as well. Ghosty opting here for the Ghost. I know it's part of his name, but still, like having that much CC on Nautilus. I would pick Cleanse personally, but it's also maybe because I don't play AD carry. I find it very to play versus such a high CC comp. So I'm gonna see what's going on there.
I mean, most of Nautilus's CC is knockups. You can't cleanse knockups. So the only CC that you can actually cleanse from the Nautilus.
That's true. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Auto attack. So, you know, there's the stun, the wall stun from the Poppy as well, but that's pretty conditional. You have like a Gravitum from the Aphelios potentially, but you know, there's all this front line. We're playing for team fights. We're playing front to back. A Ghosty is gonna be able, or is gonna need rather, to be able to get out consistent auto attacks in the team fights, and the Ghost should help a lot with that. As Vera is going to go for an early hook in this bot lane. Carry is going to get chunked out extraordinarily low on this Rel. I have to track this wave state as well. It does seem like the side of Red Panda Warriors might be building up a big wave here. Yeah. Once again, Poppy is pathing down, Beetle.
Yeah, so what you want to do, especially if you have your jungler pathing down, right? Stack 2 waves, let it bounce, and then once the 2 waves are under tower, you're going to have a wave slowly pushing against you, and you can try to zone your end. See a little bit of trading happening everywhere. Mid lane seems very boring. We don't want to watch mid lane anymore. Get out of mid lane.
There's nothing happening here until...
nothing happening.
No. That's pretty much how it's going to go. That is one other thing to consider here, maybe, is the fact that Maneki on the Aurelion Sol this game, not really going to have an easy time. If, you know, last game on the Vex was a little bit more manageable to actually roam down here to the bot lane and assist.
Yeah, exactly.
These dives, but the Aurelion Sol not really going to be as proficient at that.
I'm really curious to see, like, these junglers are both pathing bot side. Like, what are they going to do for the scuttle? As you see, they have Prio now. Nightlon and Vivera are just going to walk around a little bit, getting ready for that scuttle invade. Or take.
Yeah.
And then
should be
the bounce. We're going to see the bounce. Like, once the bounce comes, that's exactly when we are going to see Poppy on both sides.
Thankfully, though, the Sejuani is also on the bot side of the map, so should be able to get herself into position to defend against any potential Poppy ganks on this bouncing wave. Nice vision for the side of Red Panda Warriors in the Tri-Brush there. Try and spot out the Sejuani. Crab spawning now. Going to be Poppy first to the river, it looks like.
Yeah, I think Poppy is going to just leave her. No, she's going to take it. Yeah, she's first there on the scuttle take. Probably going to run top if nothing happens on the bot side. They have a Tri-Bush ward, so they should see the Sejuani coming there as well. Maybe Sejuani's doing a lane gank here.
But she is spotted, right? The side of Red Panda Warriors know that the Sejuani is here. Let's see.
Oh, there's a 3v3.
Ends up playing out. Yes, ours is going to move in for the counter gank, and Carry burning down on the Rally Ignite. One more tick. Oh, the potion. Oh, the buckler comes out from Occidendi, but the Nautilus does get traded back. Both supports down, and now the Poppy very, very low on this front line. The Gravitum does come out for the root to create some additional space, but the Poppy in a really difficult spot here. Gonna try flashing over the wall, and is able to get out with the Steadfast Presence. Denies the Arctic Assault from Olivam that would have finished off that kill, and now not quite. The Sejuani brings out the once again, and it's going to be the side of Ollie 2-1.
Oh, that was the worst butt clencher you can have on the bot side. Everybody escaping there with 5 HP. Unbelievable. Wow, Nightlon was so close on getting double kill there, but in the end, sadly. Oh man, that was close. That was close. But I do like that they're going for bot side. Both teams recognizing that bot lane is the prio of this game, and we're seeing it immediately. 3 kills down, 5 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, it is I do like that Sejuani, has adapted the game plan and was able to be in the right place at the right time
Yeah.
to be able to find that win in the bot lane this time around. So things starting off kind of opposite, right, to how they did in the previous game, where it was Nightline who was able to find that huge early lead. Now it is Ghosty, not massively ahead just yet by any means, only a couple of hundred for now. But Kaisa able to pick up that first kill.
She's not that much ahead, like when it comes to CS. Like she is a little bit more ahead in XP. And that's exactly what happens then. If you have a wave bouncing towards you, right, that entire wave is going to be there. If they waited 2 more seconds, it would have perfectly frozen on the tower and they could have played for farm. But instead they decided to fight, which meant that Aphelion, Nightlon, he loses there a couple of waves. And you see that immediately in the difference of XP, right? Ghosty, I think, is already halfway level 5, and Nightlon is just barely level 4. CCC,
well, very, very low here. He is going to get the shield from the crash down. We'll be okay for now, but Carry's probably going to have to go back to base here.
Oh, look at Maneki mid.
They're putting on a little bit of pressure. Yeah, the 3-man play in mid lane. Aurelion Sol potentially in trouble. Does still have the flash. Will have to use it. Does get away from the unstoppable force. So good reaction there from Maneki.
Yeah, very well done. Smart of Malphite also to go mid lane, forcing that flash, putting a really hard position on the next dragon take then for Aurelion Sol. And Malphite playing smart around the top side. Silverback recognizing, okay, I push my wave, I go mid lane because I can't kill Thorn. See fight happening?
Ours is going to get the stun into the wall, but Nautilus extremely low here. Vivera in danger of just getting burst down. Carry is also low, but it's going to be the side of Ollie and the Van that pick up the first kill in this skirmish. Nightlon's going to have to try and beat a retreat path here, but the Kaisa should win out in this 1v1 pretty comfortably. The exhaust just for good measure. Carry steals away the kill. A little bit unfortunate there as the Kaisa not able to pick up the last hit on either one of those, but still it is Ollie and the Van finding themselves a nice little fight win in this bottom side of the map, and they are off to a much better start than they were in game number 1.
Definitely. I think Olivam is recognizing as well where he has to be, and he's there on the right time.
Oh my goodness, gets the kill underneath the turret. Knew that the Aesol didn't have flash, right, and was able to line that one up real nice.
And it is also crazy to see as well that they are 3-0, but they still aren't able to take the dragon. So they should probably have another fight here going happen soon on the bot side. Olivam picking up their 3 kills, very, very good for his team. Would be a little bit better on the carry, but at this point, you want to have a better start than the previous game, and I think they would be happy to take this anyway. Yeah, crazy to see that Vivera died so quickly. I want to talk about the damage if you're up for it. Wow. How much damage can a Kaisa do early game? Because that was crazy.
I mean, the Nautilus was kind of at 50% HP when that kind of started out. So, yes, he did die quickly, but he was kind of low in the first place. Might have even had the Aftershock on cooldown there as well. I didn't quite catch that, but yeah, the Nautilus certainly did die very quickly, and the Kaisa on the Rel can put out quite a bit of damage, as you say, Beetle, even in the early game.
Yeah, it turns out that the Shattering Strike is quite good, right, versus shields. Nautilus having no value out of his W there. It was so crazy to see how much damage Shattering Strike did by breaking the entire Titan's Wrath shield there. Glad though to see that the Rel's working out. I think Carry Wong is a lot more happy to play this than playing the Braum, especially with all these dives and action happening on the bot side.
I think we're happy to see the Rel down here for carry this time around. Absolutely. That's a nice little satchel, but Asbrash in trouble in a 1v2 right now. The Ziggs does have flash. Might have to use it to try and get into the Raptor pit here. Might just elect to hold on to it. Will try and get away, but ours is going to be able to flash follow, and now the Ziggs is going to die and also will not have flash.
Crazy at that point. I would just say I'm dead, but Oppenheimer strategies, you never go out with a bang like that. Yeah. Sorry, I will just stop.
Yeah, never... Cillian Murphy never gives up. He's gonna always try to get that flash towards safety. Not able to find it this time around. Is Olivam once again into the bottom lane. That rotation coming in. Here comes Ghosty with the Killer Instinct. The flash away from the Aphelios does manage to get away from the Magnet Storm, but his support is gonna get taken down. And Nightlon, you gotta get underneath that turret, my friend. I will be able to stay safe for now, but now with the numbers advantage in this bottom side of the rift, we finally should see that first dragon going over to Ollie and his Van Beetle.
Yeah, that was so close. The dredge line barely missing out there on the wall. If he hit it, he would have been able to Spider-Man himself out, but sadly didn't. It resulted into Ghosty immediately ulting in on the Sejuani stun. Very interesting to see as well that the bot lane rotated mid and then they came back and ganked their own lane where the Sejuani was ready. Olifam holding that wave. They did get a plate, I think, on the bot side on Nightlon, but you know, at this point, the amount of CS you're losing is not really worth that one plate, I think.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Trading a lot here.
A couple of plates all told for the Aphelios. Oh, hit by the Shattering Strike here. Just a little bit of damage for now, but I really did like seeing that early movement come through from the bottom lane. Ollie, you know, Kaisa and Rel, such a strong early Dredgeline.
Oh, Carry Wang.
We'll be able to stun up. Carry Wang does have a crash down, but I don't know if it's going to get him to safety. The steadfast presence for the Poppy.
He canceled it.
Won't even need it. Yeah, the heroic charge, in fact, will be what cancels that Rel's attempted escape, and the shutdown will go over to Nightlon. Big money into the pockets of the Aphelios. The Unstoppable Force from Silverback will connect onto the Ornn, and that's going to be a kill in the top side of the map for Ollie and the Vam. So 1-for-1 across the map there. But critically, for the side of the Panda Warriors, they do get their Aphelios sort of back into this lane.
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, the fights are happening so much, you don't want to also have fights happening on the other side. Olivem going for the top side and being able to kill Ponticus sets it up for being able to take the Herald.
Yeah.
We see also Asbrash is able to push up Maneki by himself. I wonder what's going on between these two because, you know, Aphelios Arena Souls in early game, not early, but getting pushed out by your Ziggs, it's going to result into you being down 2 levels of XP almost. There's going to be another dive happening.
Very strong scaling as well, right? That is going to be the turret in execute range.
Wow.
Ziggs able to pick that one up. Now the Sejuani is getting CC'd a little bit on the front lines. There's ours with the collapse from the top side as well. The Ziggs not going to have a time escaping from this one. Asbrash will certainly go down. Poppy picking up the kill on that one. Flash follow to get towards the Aurelion Soul, and Silverback will be able to get the second kill of the team fight in favor of Ollie and the Vam. It's ours on the front line with Steadfast Presence, trying to create a little bit of space. The top laner has moved down as well. Ponticus trying to frontline, trying to buy time for the rest of the team, but may have to sacrifice himself in the process. The Searing Charge to try and get towards safety, but the Ornn is burning down. Poppy also extremely low. Just a couple of tanks here for the side of the Red Panda Warriors. They don't have any damage, and they're not going to be able to get Ponticus to safety. They will lose their top laner. Meanwhile, in this bot lane, Ghosty getting some turret plates for himself as well.
Yeah, he was able to kill Nightlon there, I think, in a 1v1. 2 levels ahead of Nightlon. I'm not sure how that happened because there was so much action happening in the mid lane with that turret falling. Crazy amount of damage going there out from the Malphite combined there with the Ziggs. Seems like they're going to have to stack some MR this game on the side of Red Panda Warriors.
I think they might. You know, thankfully they do have a lot of tanks that are going to be able to purchase that magic resistance, but certainly, you know, it is the side of Ollie and the Vam coming ahead with a very significant lead this time in the early game here in game number 2. 5,000 gold, even a larger lead actually than what the Panda Warriors had in game number 1.
It's really good that they're a lead, but they should also recognize that they're still on a timer. As you see, Arsa Sandy and Baby getting caught out.
Okay, nice set back. Deny the CC from the Rel. They're able to dredge line back towards the turret, try and get towards safety here, but the Inferno Bomb will come out and Nautilus will not be able to escape. So it was a very aggressive look there from the side of Panda Warriors, trying to make another dive happen in this bot lane, but this time around, you don't have the early lead. You don't have all of that pressure in the mid lane, and it's the side of Ollie and the Vam once again in position to counteract that, and they come out ahead once again.
Yeah, the Ziggs doing so much damage here with the Satchel right on towers, being able to execute them. That's what they're just going to do, I think. They're going to rotate through every single tower on the map and take the outer towers and then push for tier 2 based on the objectives. Really glad to see that actually on Ziggs, Asbrash is still able to roam, because if he didn't roam, I think he would be able to escape on that situation. Arsa Sandy a little bit too crazy, going a bit too far, I think, in between the towers and getting caught out there. Resulted into...
didn't expect the Ziggs to be there, right?
Yeah, he didn't expect the Ziggs to be there, but also I think he expected himself to be a little bit more tanky. He did opt for the more damage side of builds, right? He didn't go for any of the Sunfire items, but he ended up with getting the Divine Sunderer against the amount of tanks that they have on Ollie and the Vam. Now, I do want to highlight real quick on itemization, because we did talk about itemization last time. There is On the side of Sejuani, a Radiant Virtue, as you see in
just a
fight.
second, Beetle. The Forge God is going to make... Oh, a little bit of a whoopsie there from Ponticus, not able to get the R2 activation. Might not matter, though, as there is just too much CC for this Malphite. One more auto attack with the Brittle,
yeah, nice.
And that is going to be the shutdown going over. But that does mean that Ollie and the Vam have the numbers advantage on this bottom side of the Rift. It's going to be Nautilus flashing away, trying to stay alive, but Ghosty with the Killer Instinct follow-up will be able to get that kill onto the support. And it's once again another 1-for-1 across the map, but Ollie and the Vam get the kill on the bottom side of the map where the neutral objective is, and it's going to be their third consecutive neutral to complement their massive early gold lead.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of crazy how they, even though went top, right, they're getting countered on the other side. The focus is a little bit gone from RPW Warriors on where they should think. Glad to see, though, that Maneki decided not to go in there. He recognizes that he's too far behind to help. So he is going to stay on the bot side and push a lot. I wanted to talk about the itemization, actually, here from this side of Red Panda Warriors versus Ollie and the Vam. We see like the choices that are being made also in the itemization for Divine Sunderer and Leandri's Anger. They recognize... Oh, Silverback?
Might not have time. I'm sorry, Beetle. We do have an unstoppable force in the top lane. Silverback looking for this one. Ponticus flashing away now, trying to stay alive. And there's another Seismic Shard, though. And that's not enough move speed for the Orange. Silverback this time, finding the solo bolo with the Tank Rock.
That was the fastest buy, I think, ever by a Ponticus Maximus. Instantly buying the Jack Show there once he died. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the itemization. I see as well here Ponticus picking up another HP draining, what's called HP draining item. There's a lot of percentage damage on these items, and I think they recognize here as well that the amount of tanks is just so hard to get through. Now the problem is if you get a lot of slow damage, is what you call it, right? You have slow damage, you have fast damage. Like Leandri's pretty fast.
Oh, Glacial Prison in the bottom lane. Maneki in trouble. Does have the flash coming off cooldown right now. Will actually just be able to glide towards safety. This turret in the bottom lane is potentially in trouble. Called the Forge God, going to be utilized to try and defend this. But the follow-up not quite there. Zig's going to be able to keep pushing as Brash, really tough to deal with, does get knocked up. Couple of brittle autos coming through here. The Zig's actually a little bit in trouble, but Olivam's still in the area to move over, defend the mid laner, carry as well. Going to move over now on the Rel. The rotation coming through also from the Panda Warriors. They're a little bit behind the play, but they will be here momentarily. Ollie and the Vam will recognize that three-man squad going to back off now in the bottom lane, while their Malphite pushing unmatched right now is Silverback in that top side.
I think they're going back for getting that Herald and picking that up and taking the first tier 2 to open up the map a little bit. What I wanted to mention about the itemizations, right? You have slow damage and you have fast damage. Like if you buy a Leandris on Arena Soul, usually not the best, but you would consider that fast damage, right? You do a lot of damage all at once, like more bursty kind of champions like to build these items. The problem is if everybody buys like these slow damage items, nobody will be able to burst champions like Kaisa. Nobody will be able to burst champions like Ziggs. And they will be able to do a lot of damage because they are building fast damage in some situations. Like Ziggs doing a lot of damage, like flat damage, will probably build full glass cannon if it was up to me. But that might be a problem for late game, especially when you go to wave clearing. If you look at Iranian Soul, right, he cannot wave clear with 1 W if he doesn't have Liandry. Sorry.
Statue charge, but this Ziggs has so much damage. Look how strong Az is in this game. Barely Maneki able to create enough to... Oh, the Inferno Bomb! Oh. I think Aurelian Soul didn't see the indicator because the center of it was over the wall. I would love to see Maneki's vision towards the end of that play as the bomb was coming in, but regardless, Asbraj finding another solo kill on this Ziggs, second of the game for him.
Yeah, Maneki is not as comfortable, I think, on the Radiant Soul as he was on the Vex. Vex is able to clear out waves quite easily, and the Radiant Soul struggling a little bit in clearing these waves.
Full item difference in that mid lane matchup right now.
Yeah, it's actually kind of... I was just looking at it as well with the 3,000 gold difference almost between these two mid laners.
Absolutely massive. I mean, we've seen the Ziggs moving around the map, picking up those turrets, so that is going to be the majority of that gold differential. A couple of solo kills, obviously, helping out Az in this one also. Barely gets away from that knockup. Aspresh is
going to get out. He's going to get out. As you see, Sejuani walking mid lane here, but the Herald is probably going to Herald mid and open up the game a little bit. We see also Malphite pushing on the bot side. I wouldn't be surprised if they rotate from mid to bot, and if they get a fight, they go Baron. If not, they will go to Dragon. It's a very, very clean play right now from OLI and the Vam. Cleaned up their
agree.
slate from game 1.
Herald going to be utilized. Surely making her way into the mid lane. We'll be able to charge into the tier 2. Nothing too much else going to be
Where's the
looked
Sandy?
for from OLI and the Vam. Ours threatening, thinking about looking
I
for
think
something
Silverback is going
there.
to flash
Ziggs
over.
gonna be able to
I think
move
he's going to
up,
flash
so
over.
Cannot
He's
defend
looking.
the turret. Yeah, the Poppy. Oh, the Infernal Bomb. Not enough damage. The Orin tanky enough to survive that one. But these
But it's
turrets
perfect,
are
right?
just dropping.
They don't need to
all
fight.
place.
They have the objectives. They have the vision. Like they have to come into them. So if OLI and the Vam is going to be able to hold this positioning on the map, it's just nothing that you can do as Red Panda warriors, especially around this dragon. You like your whole goal is to get something on the map, and if they're getting choked out like this by OLI and the Vam, it's going to be a pretty quick game, I think.
Yeah, this one is looking very, very one-sided in favor of OLI and the Vam. You know, as we do recall, you know, we had game number 1, at least through the early game and through most of the mid game as well, was quite one-sided the other way in favor of the Panda Warriors. They struggled a little bit to close things out down the stretch. So now we get to see Beetle. If the side of OLI and the Vam, you know, they are the higher-seeded team, they're going to be a little bit cleaner with the execution on their gold lead. You know, there is some wave clear that they're going to have to contend with, particularly from this Aurelion Soul. You know, Maneki continuing to scale up, still needs a second item, though. So the A Soul is still quite far behind in
It's
this
still a
game,
timer,
but
you know, even if they're this
Exactly.
far ahead. We saw it last game as well. There's a big chance that it gets swung around with like maybe a Baron call. Like we've seen Dignitas in the past on the LEC or LCS doing this exact same mistake over and over and over again. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens there on the highest level, that it should happen here as well.
Certainly a
See that
possibility.
Baron started up.
This is going to be the T1 Baron attempt that will come out from OLI and the Vam. They certainly have the gold lead to make this one happen. And the enemy jungler not in the area, so that's going to be an easy smite secure for OLI Vam. We do have Carry over the wall, trying to do a little bit of zoning. He's getting chunked down pretty severely, but the Glacial Prison will connect onto the Aurelion Soul. And there's the killer saying into the fast line. Ghosty going to find the mid laner. We did trade back those. The Rel has also been taken down, and now Ghosty, this Kaisa, is deep behind enemy lines. We'll have to flash. We'll be able to get towards safety. Nautilus also trade back, and Ghosty able to survive for so long. Able to create some space, and the gold lead is just too much. The wallets are just too heavy. Ours going to get taken down here with one more auto attack as Ghosty able to get in range there with the overload. And that is going to be the game, I have to believe. I think this one
Only
is
2
certainly
minions.
looking a lot cleaner, Beetle. Oh, and that's true. Not too much of a wave, and Maneki is spawning in just 7 seconds. So might, in fact, not be the game just yet.
Too soon,
But
too
it is
soon.
full
We're gonna knock on
control of
wood.
this one now for OLI.
Knock on wood, it's too soon here. The spawn
caught it
timers
earlier.
is just a little bit too low, and they're not able to close out the game after that monstrous difference in that team fight. They got the Baron. I think Red Panda Warriors weren't even aware that the Baron was being taken. And once they checked, they saw a Rel in their face, and it just turned all to hell. As you see here, still beautiful ult from Reyna's Soul, but it's just not enough damage coming out. With one item, you can't wipe a team like you can with 3. And we see as well Ghosty playing out of his mind now, redeeming himself from the first game, kiting 3 champions and waiting for Silverback to come here with the unstoppable force, blowing up the entire team. And that's going to be free inhibitor.
Yeah, Ghosty displaying for us that when he doesn't get repeatedly dove in the early game, he can actually have an incredibly high impact for this team. Who'd have guessed, right? When he actually gets to play the video game for the first 10 minutes, things do tend to look a whole lot better for the player here. As you say, having a phenomenal performance. And the Aurelion Soul Ultimate, as you also mentioned, was good, but didn't really connect onto the carries. Ghost and Asbrash pretty much able to stay
They have to
safe.
be really careful here. They do not want to fight. Ziggs is on the bot side. He can get turrets quite easily by himself. See Ghosty being ulted here by the depth charge, and it's going to be a dredge line coming out maybe.
That following star, Vivera is going to be the first casualty of this one. R is trying to find the Kaisa, trying to get into that back line, but the Poppy is going to be the one who will fall, and the triple kill will go over the team fighting. Just too clean there from OLI and the Vam. They had too much of an advantage, and Asbrash is just hanging out down here, just getting stuff for free. Ponskis is going to walk up. Nice flash there from the Ziggs. Gets away from the Call of the Forge God. Looking for another solo kill. Is Asbrash onto the top laner this time. Satchel Charge not quite the direction that he was hoping to knock that Ornn in. And it will be Pontus able to get back to the fountain. His mid laner might not be so lucky. Maneki, oh, barely. The Aurelion Soul gets back over there as well. Carry is going to get burned down, but the Nexus turrets have already fallen. And this game number 2, yeah, we do have
Farming KD. Farming KD.
back over. but it will be the 25-minute win for Ollie and the VAM here in game number 2, the number 2 seed in this second division, showing us how it's done.
Very, very, very clean game there from Ollie and the VAM, recognizing that they were on a timer and they just went for it and they closed out the game on a record pace. 25 minutes only did it take to kill the Red Warriors here. Red Panda Warriors. And yeah, I think they put a little bit too many eggs in one basket. You know, if it gets shaken around, all the eggshells crack really quickly. And that's what we saw happening here as well. They put all of their effort on Nightlon, carrying the game, but once he gets shut down, yeah, there's not much that you can do anymore.
Yeah, ultimately, you know, I understand why the side of the Red Panda Warriors wanted to go for that Ornn on R5, right? You have the Aphelios, you have the Aurelianso, you know, these incredibly strong scaling carries where if you can create space for them, if you can keep them safe in the team fight, they will win the game for you, you know, in that mid and late game. But, you know, ultimately, it was just the lanes. They had no winning lanes this game on the side of the Red Panda Warriors. Like you said, Beetle, they ended up falling behind in that bot side. And when that happened, it felt like they really just didn't have any options. You know, I think I would have actually liked
especially
to see Prompt on a... Go ahead.
Yeah, especially like that you mentioned that point as well. They fell behind on the bot side and then it's just a disaster. Because you have this Poppy, right? Poppy is supposed to be the one that's going to carry you through the early game. Once you have that little fight happening on the bot side where 3 people die and your Poppy also loses her buffs, you're going to have a really, really rough time for the rest of the game. And that's what happened basically, right? And nobody was able to rely on the support of Poppy and the lane started slowly falling apart because OliVam is just such a monster on Sejuani. Never dying this game, 4-0-7, everywhere on the right time. Such a shame that they lived here. Imagine if like Nightlon gets the kills here, right? Imagine he gets here. It would be a completely different game. But sadly dies there to OliVam. Yeah. Oh man. And they get to push the wave.
Definitely in that early fight. And you're certainly right. You know, if that had gone the other way, then things could have looked very different. You know, it probably would have allowed a lot more time for the Panda Warriors to get towards that late game. You know, Nightlon would have been a little bit more accelerated, would have been able to try and get towards those 2 and 3 items a little bit faster, but was not the case. And ultimately, it's not really what the side of Red Panda Warriors were drafting for, was finding the win in that early skirmish. And I think the biggest point, you know, on that subject to really reinforce is the fact that OliVam was in exactly the right place there, knew exactly what the game plan should be in this game, and was able to make it happen for his bot lane this time around.
And it can also be a little bit of overconfidence now. I look back at the fight, right? They did walk over the Tribush ward. Like, they knew that OliVam was there, but they still went for the fight.
Yeah.
And that could also be a little bit because, you know, it's a best of 3. You go in the first game, you kind of sweep them, and then, yeah, you did make a couple of mistakes, but you're confident that you win the early game. So if you're confident to win the early game, you're going to go play like this, right? Where you do not respect that the enemy jungler can also do certain things and maybe wiping your bot lane out. So I'm hoping to see them maybe change a little bit up on that maybe, yeah, you can put 1 or 2 champions that are going to be late game champions, but pick a really high aggro jungler then. Then don't pick a Poppy, but pick maybe something like a Lee Sin or Graves, like champions that can really clear really, really fast and can assist you in getting you through that early game.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be pretty clear adaptations for the side of Red Panda Warriors moving into game 3 here, but that game 2, very clinical in favor of Ollie and the VAM. They are going to have a whole bunch of momentum heading into this deciding game number 3. And of course, they were favorites coming in tonight, now in position to see if they can get their spot in the grand finals. But the Panda Warriors...
Roman, I'm just happy that I can cast another game with you, okay? These series are fun.
Absolutely. Happy to be here with you as well, Beetle. We will be right back for that game number 3, going to short break first. You don't want to miss this one, guys. See you again soon. That does mean that Ollie and the VAM have the numbers advantage on this bottom side of the rift. It's going to be Nautilus Flash away trying to stay alive, but Ghosty with the Killer Instinct follow-up will be able to get that kill onto the support.
Like Ziggs doing a lot of damage, like flat damage. We'll probably build full glass cannon if it was up to me. But that might be a problem for late game, especially when you go to wave clearing. If you look at Iranian Soul, right, he cannot wave clear with 1 W if he doesn't have Liandry. Sorry.
Statue charge, but this Ziggs has so much damage. Look how strong Az is in this game. Barely Maneki able to create enough to... Oh, the Inferno Bomb!
Oh.
I think Aurelion Soul didn't see the indicator because the center of it was over. Might secure for Olivam. We do have carry over the wall, trying to do a little bit of zoning. Is getting chunked down pretty severely, but the Glacial Prison will connect onto the Aurelion Soul, and there's the killer saying into the fast line. Ghosty going to find the mid laner. We did trade back those. The Rel has also been taken down, and now Ghosty, this Kaisa, is deep behind enemy lines. We'll have to flash. We'll be able to get towards safety. Nautilus also trade back, and Ghosty able to survive for so long. Able to create space, and the gold lead is just too much. The wallets are just too heavy. Ours gonna get taken down here with one more auto attack as Ghosty able to get in range there. Ghost and Asbrash pretty much able to stay safe. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Cobalt Wins League once again as we prepare for our third and final game of the night. Winner gets a spot in the finals. Beetle, these teams gone back and forth now. Was the Panda Warriors, of course, that were able to take game one, but a very decisive win in game two for the other side for Ollie.
Yeah, I think this is also a little bit of the experience, right, that Ollie and the VAM had so far this season. I think that with 6-2, they are used to closing out games really well. And Red Panda Warriors are trying to redeem themselves. They're trying to get back into that spot where they can say, we're finally finalists.
Absolutely.
It just shows a little bit as well. The nerves, I think, for playing these games where you go pretty easy through the first game and then you suddenly have to fight back. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do for game three. Expect some bans, and that is hopefully the Gangplank will be banned again, but maybe they're going to let the Gnar through. Just want to see if they're going to do that this time.
And the beauty of best of series, right? See how these teams, how these players handle the pressure, how they're able to adapt over the course of a series is always really, really fun to track. But I do think, Beetle, that, after game one, there were some pretty clear adjustments that were able to be made by Ollie and the VAM. They made those adjustments, and we saw what happened in game two. This time around, the Panda Warriors, I think it is a little bit of a similar story in the sense there are some pretty clear changes that they can make to give themselves a better chance here in this third game.
Oh, for sure. Like, they tried a little bit too hard, I think, on getting Nightlaw ahead, and it didn't turn out to be the greatest, and they can't really rely upon the other lanes if they're all late game carries. So let's see if they're going to focus a little bit more on getting the jungler on some sort of hyper carry, or at least an early game champion that can get them through the early game if they're going to go for this late game comp. On the other hand, I think OLI definitely adapted pretty well, but it's now the time for Red Panda Warriors to adapt. And, in a best of three, adapting is always like a back and forth thing. So I assume that the Red Panda Warriors will step up their game and hopefully take this one.
Hope so. Hoping for actually a close early game here in game three, Beetle, I think would be really, really nice to see. If these teams could actually keep it close for a little bit longer. We can see some more contentious fights in the mid game. I think that would be very, very fun. But
yeah, for sure.
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head a moment ago when you were mentioning that you were hoping for a carry threat in the jungle position. I do think we could see that carry threat in the top lane as well. I think Ponticus, we saw what they were able to do with the Trundle in the side lane.
I mean, if he gets the Gnar, he's going to go take this game away quite easily. And we did mention like a little bit at the start, right? He did play a couple of games with Garen, so maybe there's going to be a Garen pick.
You never
see
know.
Kai'Sa being picked up again. By the way, the teams did swap sides, I think, right? Or sure,
no,
is it?
Seems like the side of the Panda Warriors actually elected to stay on the red side. So
interesting.
we have the same sides for all three games this evening. And it will be the exact same opening for the side of Ollie and the VAM here in game three. Makes sense as the winners of game two. They prioritize the Kai'Sa for Ghosty once again. And a little bit of an adaptation, though, from the side of the Panda Warriors is they will take away the Sejuani.
So that's going to be a very, very strong jungler, but you do want to have some sort of melee top or mid lane if you're going to pick the Sejuani. Last time we did see the Malphite rock solid on top lane smacking that Ornn, but he's also able to proc that passive of Sejuani. You can't do that with ranged champions. I don't know why you can't do that, but it seems that that's the way, right?
That's just how it is.
Rel and Ziggs also, again, being picked up here.
Yeah. And, love this from Ollie and the VAM. Honestly, the composition worked beautifully. They played it out well. Asbraj was most damaged in that previous game to probably champions and objectives both, honestly. So I think seeing the mid laner on that pick again is really good news for Ollie fans. And now the R3 selection. The Gnar likely going to get banned away in the second phase if they let it through, and it will be locked in for Ponticus.
Ow.
We get to see the Gnar, Beetle.
Yeah, they went for it. They recognized as well that the Gnar is an option. I said as well, they're not going to ban the Gnar last time, so maybe they're going to pick it this time in the first round of pick and ban. As we see here, also, again, all this being banned out here. I don't think Silver or I'm Ghosty liked playing versus an Aldous.
Yeah,
they're going
to be able to deny some strong pairings with the Aphelios here. Potentially a Lulu. Oh, Lulu actually banned away by the Panda Warriors, interestingly. So maybe expecting
that
Rel
pick
might
maybe
actually be in the jungle this time around. What was
I think it might be a Midio pick then here. If I'm
Ooh, with the Aphelios, yeah, that could look
yeah,
pretty good.
maybe I don't know if Vera
Into the wall
plays
as
Milio,
well.
but yeah, exactly. That's
There it is. Nice
am I
call.
good at this or what?
Yeah, it's almost like you're an analyst or something. That's crazy, man. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I have a lot of notes here. That's actually and 20 people working in the back. They're all messaging me what picks possibly can come through. As we see here, Wukong being hovered. I think there's going to be Wukong jungle then. I haven't
Yeah,
seen this yet. Poppy is not on the table, so Jarvan is also still an option here for Olivam.
very true. I mean, the Poppy also obviously still open. Hasn't been locked in anywhere. Wukong will be the selection though, for the side of Ollie and the Vam. Ollie Vam himself, the team namesake, going to be piloting that one. You know, it's a really threatening teamfight composition that they do have here on the blue side. An R5 pick for the mid lane are going to be the Ahri into the Ziggs.
I think Maneki would love to play Aurelion Sol, but after that last game, I don't think his team would allow him anymore to play Aurelion. They really want to close it out early. You know, that's what worked for them in their first game.
Yeah.
So I think why not repeat that same strategy? Like trying to play around the early game seems to be the way to go for both of these teams. Now,
Yeah,
we did see Olivam on Wukong, I think, before in the Cobalt Wins League, but I'm not sure. I think he performed pretty well. So I think Wukong can be a very, very scary champ to look at this game.
Yeah, the Wukong in solo queue is actually pretty weak right now. Did receive a couple of very minor buffs on this patch, you know, some reduced mana costs on a couple of those abilities, but in coordinated play, in 5v5 play, you know, the Wukong can still be really, really potent, you know, still has that team fighting power with 2 charges on the ultimate and can set up really nicely for this damage to come through from the Ziggs and from the Kaisa. So I do like the pick for Olivam in the jungle. But I do also feel like the Red Panda Warriors have some pretty good responses on their side as well.
The amount of engagement on Red Panda Warriors, you know, they picked the Red Panda for this whole thing. Nara is a Red Panda. Changed my mind. But they do have a lot more engage, you know, and I think that's what they lacked the last 2 games.
Right.
Is that the engage was just not always on point. And now that they're able to go in and advance that one team fight, and whenever they go into a team fight, they are able to hopefully actually start it on their own terms instead of having to wait for Ollie and the Vam to engage. Interesting to see how the pathing is going to be, because you see like the bot lane is still a heavy contested side, but you also have the option to go and play for Gnar and Ahri now. So there's a lot more options. I think that suits Red Panda Warriors playstyle very well. And let's see how Ollie and the Vam are going to adapt to that. That they're going to have to look around the map a little bit more, I guess.
Definitely. They will have to be wary. You know, it is, I think, a little bit reverse these compositions in terms of what we saw last game. It does feel, you know, obviously we have the Ornn being played by Silverback now, who was on the Malphite before. So Silverback, you know, with that really strong scaling tank pick in the top lane this time around. And overall, it just feels like there's a lot of scaling, a lot of late game threat on the side of Ollie and the Vam in this draft. And on the other side, you know, considering what they're up against, and considering how the series has gone just in general so far tonight, Beetle, I agree with what you said earlier, where I do feel like the Panda Warriors are going to be needing to play for this early game. You know, Sejuani and Ahri not necessarily known as the strongest mid-jungle 2v2, but should still be able to win out against Ziggs Wukong. And the Sejuani, you know, should be able to play for that Gnar up there as well. You know, getting Gnar ahead could put them in a really good spot come mid-game.
It's also to put an emphasis on having to fight, you know, Sejuani and Ahri. They don't necessarily have to fight the 2v2. Like, the big difference also when you pick an Ahri versus an Aurelion Sol is that you're able to clear out the waves versus a Ziggs that you couldn't do before. So, you know, there's also this possibility to open up the 4-man dives again if the Ahri can roam both sides, especially with the movement speed that you get from Charming and the orbs. So I think it will be a very interesting game to see how they're going to play this game. Let's see how they're going to do the bot. But yeah, tense game for the last game of Division 2 semifinals, I guess.
Absolutely. Everything on the line here. Both these teams, you know, wanting to give it everything that they have to try and secure that spot in the finals. Regular delay is about done, guys, so that means it is time for us to go to break one final time. We will be right back with the third and final game of the night as we determine the second finalist will be. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody. Once more into the breach tonight for both of these teams. Same sides, of course, that we've been on all night long. Ollie and the Vam once again towards the blue side, and the Red Panda Warriors on the red, as is appropriate for
He
them.
picked a green skin though for Nar.
That is a little bit awkward. Christmas
Doesn't the
theme,
default
I
one?
suppose.
Is the default
Christmas
one
theme?
red? It's green. The default one is. I think the default is red.
Default
Beautiful
Nar?
skin,
Yeah,
by the way.
red. What, default Nar?
Yeah, of course.
Or-
Default Nar is amazing. But also the skins of Nar in general, they're pretty good. Like throwing a penguin
Yeah.
and an ice cube. Who doesn't want to do that?
I'm kind of a fan of the astronaut Nar as well, where he throws like the space shuttle.
Ah,
That's
yeah,
pretty fun
true.
as well. And he has like the little helmet.
Standard lead procedure about the. Just looking here. Just carry. Just let me do my thing, okay? Standard lane setup here. Everybody just defending, no invades, nothing going crazy. I think everybody is full of nerves right now because they are playing for the final round, right? Or like becoming a finalist. This is their last chance to do so. So it's very interesting to see how they're going to play out this game. A lot of swaps here happening. Tending to go a little bit more for the early game, I guess, on the mid side.
Yeah. I would say that I feel like that's a little bit surprising, Beetle. You know, the fact that Ollie and the Vam did make this pivot towards more of a late game composition, right? Getting the Ornn for Silverback in that top lane does mean it's a not a huge difference in terms of their draft. You know, it's a relatively similar function to the Malphite in terms of being the front line and setting up those team fights. But it does feel like a slightly more defensive setup for Ollie, which, you know, considering how incredible they were after getting the early lead in the previous game, maybe would have expected something a little bit more aggressive, but feeling like the scaling option is just a little bit safer. As we do see the level 2 come in first in the bottom side here, not able to find too much just yet, though.
Nightlawn and Vivera knowing exactly what their role is in this game. That's just not to die. See Sejuani pathing here for bot side after clearing only the bot side of the jungle. Is gonna be
interesting angle here for ours. Gonna be able to possibly catch Ghosty and Carry.
This is very, very scary.
Here.
Like, if this doesn't work
This
out,
is
they're
how
gonna lose a
game
lot.
one went. This is
Carry
how
goes in.
the Panda Warriors got their win in game number 1, but Carry, the Severum connects, the auto attack, the first blood. Nightline on the Aphelios picks it up.
Oh, I was about to say that this is not what you want to have happening if you give up this early, like, clearing speed, right? And Nightlawn just, I don't know, this guy's out of my... he's able to pick up that kill barely there on Carry Wang. Super unlucky that Carry Wang just jumps in. It's just like when you reload in a
right.
It's just
exactly the
worst timing.
Yeah, absolutely right, Beetle. We have a replay here. Take a look. It's pretty straightforward. You know, it's just ours with a nice angle.
Yeah, as we see here, Sejuani opting to go for only the bot side clear and then going bot. And then immediately what happens is you're going to have this back and forth. And if this back and forth doesn't happen, this Sejuani gank turns into, oh, you're clearing a lot slower. And also you're losing out on your entire early game presence as a Sejuani. But it's just so unfortunate that Carry Wang jumps in there.
In the bot lane now, we do have Olivam making his own attempt, trying to get onto the Aphelios Emilio, but they are able to back away. It does cost a flash off of Vivera. So an attempt from Olivam to try and get something for his own bottom lane. Less successful than what ours was able to accomplish, though. And something else I did want to mention, Beetle, actually, very briefly, is the fact that we've seen Vivera in both of the previous 2 games on Hook champions. It was the Thresh in game number 1, and then, of course, the Nautilus in game 2. A little bit of a different look for the support this time around. It's really strong pick Emilio is with the Aphelios, but
oh yeah, for sure.
My eyes on that as well to see.
Well, you also have to consider that they did ban out both Nautilus and Thresh, right? The only ban that you can have maybe is Blitzcrank, but I think even Blitzcrank they banned out.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it was clearly a strategy in the draft from Ollie to try and target that support player. So
the only picks that you have left in is Pyke that has a little bit of a hook.
Sure. Yeah.
Some more champions that have hooks now, they don't, right?
What was that?
There's so many champions these days. Like, you don't even know which champion.
Oh, yeah. Riot always adding new stuff, making the game. And we need more bans.
200 years, right? 200 years. 5 bans, it would break the game. As you see Maneki here clearing out waves a little bit. You see here is again the pressure that a Ziggs brings, right? When it comes to shoving waves so quickly. He didn't even use a potion yet. And at the same time, Ari is half HP, has to go and recall and get a first item. It's nice to see though that there's no real level differences yet in mid lane. Koneki is holding up on his own. He's just waiting for his team to basically start making the plays, I guess, for him.
Ari does have level 6 now, so okay. Actually,
fight on top.
On the Forge God right now in the top lane. R2 will connect. Ponticus has the Mega, will be able to transform, gets the Gnar, pushes the Ornn off. And now, ooh, nice Bellows Breath to immune the wall up, but charging forward, cannot quite get in range for the Brittle Auto. And both top laners will walk away. Silverback expending the flash there, though, means that Ponticus a little bit advantaged in that trade.
Oh, for sure. You see also here, very, very big wave happening on the bot side. Nightwing, can he out and recognize that the Wukong is there? You do want to start up the Dragon, I think.
Wukong not having the Cyclone available just yet means that this gank not the easiest to set up. And it will just be the wave getting cleared out. At least all of them in position ready to defend against a potential dive, because as you say, Beetle, it was a very large wave.
Yeah, exactly. And if you start fighting there and you don't get anything out of it, Isa loses out on a lot of gold as well. It's good that they recognize that there's a big wave. Let's clear out the wave first and let's get that level 6. Olivem is going to have a level lead right now on Occidendi. I think that's also because of the early clear, right? Olivem has his regular clear while Occidendi is clearing bot side while his half of his top is up still.
Yeah, wondering, so will have a little bit of a window there where he does tick 6 before the Sejuani can get there.
Well, he can maybe invade here, actually.
Setup,
oh, such a setup.
Nice. Clone from Olivam gets away from the charm. Will have to flash, though, to get over the wall of that dragon pit.
Yeah, smart choice, because if he gets chunked there in that situation, then they can just do dragon, right? Then Olivam has to recall in order to not die to the dragon. So it's a very good, smart play to just like flash. It's not worth it to risk the first dragon there.
I will say, I think that the Wukong could have potentially not into the dragon pit. And maybe he didn't have to flash there. You know, Charm was already used. Arctic Assault was already used. Glacial Prison not available. So, you know, maybe with some different pathing.
It's a best of 3. It's scary. It's late. It's Sunday. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just also a part tiredness of like having to practice all week and then playing this game. And then you just have to adapt suddenly. Suddenly you're playing Wukong. It's not your Poppy game that you was planning to play.
Yeah. And ultimately, you know, Olivam not going down there is the most important thing. You know, able to keep himself safe. So nothing too much lost for the side of Ollie and the Bam here. Just that one kill so far from that early gank from ours. You know, did go into the pockets of Nightlon, but they haven't really been able to extend that lead in the bot lane just yet. Yeah,
especially when you consider as well that last 2 games, when we were at 8 minutes, there was only like 6 kills happening. So
yeah.
it's a very different game. They're playing a lot more with their heads. I think they're focusing a lot better now when it comes to like playing around the objectives. Dragon still hasn't been taken. You know, nothing is really swung in either team's favor.
And I think this is kind of exactly what we wanted to see, right? Beetle's a closer early game. Nobody making any big blunders. Everybody in position to counteract any super plays from their opponents.
Oh, the caster curse. Don't say that nobody's making blunders, to be honest.
You know what? That's
killing
my bad.
Ponticus on his favorite champion.
I have some wood right here, guys. All right? I just knocked on it. Hopefully that'll be able to counteract my little bit of a whoopsie there. Olivam.
You know, the nice thing is if you have the situation where both teams don't play anything like hard engages early or there's nothing really happening early, it puts the stakes only higher. Because then when you make one mistake, you instead of losing just like 2 plates, you lose 2 towers.
Yeah. But regardless, you know, I will say also that for both of these teams, there's going to be a little bit more time. And both teams do have some pretty strong scaling elements, right? You maybe a little bit of an advantage for Ollie and the Vam, but Aphelios is going to be a monster in that late game as well.
Same thing for Olivam, you know, if he gets that Black Cleaver. Oh, nice ultimate here, Asbraj.
Charm will connect, though. Asbraj in trouble. Underneath
the have enough damage?
Inferno Bomb. Ari will be able to Spirit Rush away from that one. Sejuani dodges out for most of the damage as well. So, it will be the Sejuani flash and ult traded for Ziggs flash and ult.
And this is exactly what happened as well at the Dragon, right? Olivam recognized then that he should flash out, and now you have Arso Sandy being way too low to test that Herald. And that's the first objective going to the side of Ollie and the Vam. Like.
Indeed. Good news for Ollie. We'll be able to get that Herald in the pocket of the captain
Ghosty
himself. Ghosty. Not with the Ghost, of course, but we'll be able to outrun the Aphelios regardless.
If they can zone him now out of the Tribush, it's hard. Wukong is there as well. Maybe they're going to look for the Dragon here. We see
should be able
good
to
trade happened.
lock this one away. Sejuani coming back out of the fountain right now, but
This is scary.
some
Look where Ziggs is.
rotations. Yeah, still about 50% on the dragon. The teleport will come through from the Ziggs.
What an
Magnus engage pretty good from Carry Wang. They burst down the support. Nightline is now caught out in a 1v4. Aphelios already used the flash, cannot get away. It's a double kill over to the Wukong, and now it is the Red Panda Warriors heavily outnumbered in this fight. R is able to trade one back onto the support, who was already pretty low. Maneki, though, who used all of the Spirit Rush charges already. Olivam going to be able to chase him down in the top lane as well. Ponticus having to flash away from that Ornn. And it was close, but it was ultimately the side of Ollie that was able to win out in that fight. Not able to get the dragon just yet afterwards, though, Beetle.
Yeah, they're really, really low after that fight. You know, even though Maneki was joining in late, he was able to do a lot of damage and push them off the dragon. Arzoseni could possibly steal there, but yeah, maybe they should have risked it a little bit to start the dragon. Instead, they opted to take some tower plates. It's also perfectly fine.
Huge. This is actually really big. Oh, Olivam, though, a little bit awkward. At least it's not going to be a kill given over. And we do get this Herald charge into the tier 1. So that is
get executed?
Extraordinarily low. That should be the execute. There is the first brick. Once again for Asbrash. Gonna get hit by the Glacial Prison, though. That will connect this time around, and ours will make
might be a dragon. This might be a dragon now, seeing that there's also Carry Wing on top side. If they recognize this, that the execute happened, very unlucky situation for Olivam. They should start up the dragon, yeah.
Absolutely right, Beetle. And this is the correct call, I think, from the Panda Warrior.
What happened? He was charging Herald, and then I blinked once. You know.
What, for Olivam? Or?
Yeah, he just charged the Herald. Ah, okay.
Standing in turret range, channeling Rift Herald, and I guess didn't realize that he was losing his minion wave. Picked up the turret aggro and just kind of...
You know, if it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty fantastic performance from Olivam so far this game, besides that little whoopsie. You know,
it's maybe a faster recall. That can also
3 kills. Yeah, and didn't go over the shutdown, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that is, you know, still feeling okay about the situation as the Wukong. Not ideal, and did kind of cost you the dragon. So, you know, was certainly a little bit awkward, but you accomplished your goal of getting your mid laner that first turret money. So, ultimately, I think Wukong will be all right with the trade.
Oh, Maneki play. Dodging everything here.
How dangerous this Ziggs is now. He's just throwing out all of these skill shots.
Oh, but he's very far up.
Is going to be the one in danger, as I was going to look for this play. We do have a play in top side as well as Ponticus, and a 1v3 will get taken down. In the bot side, though, will be a similar story, as the man advantage for Red Panda Warriors will also work out in their favor. R is able to pick up that last hit onto the Ziggs.
No, plates are still up, so it's worth on both sides for both teams if they want to go towards the late game. The difference is, though, where the gold is going to go out to. Because if you're going to have an Ornn that's going to have gold, he's going to be able to also get a lot more XP over time. And that XP is turning into gold for your team, right? With the upgrades, the Ornn passive is doing a lot when it comes to upgrading your mythic items. On the other side, you have Ahri being able to burst down champions is exactly what you need the gold for. Hasn't completed the mythic yet. I wouldn't be surprised if she just completes it right now.
Yeah, I believe Ludens, right? Should have it in base here. Yeah, looking like it's going to be the Ludens for Maneki this game. A little bit of an interesting choice, you know, prioritizing, trying to assassinate those backline carries, you know, trying to get onto the Ziggs, onto the Kaisa.
Oh, Arsoseni is looking.
Fights. Yeah, R is looking over the wall here. The wave will be coming in as Nightline pushes it forward. A little bit of chip damage coming out onto the Rel. Also, R's with the Glacial Prison. Doesn't have flash quite yet, and it's not a very big wave. So
yeah, the wave is way too tiny. Ghosty is doing a very, very good job clearing that wave and resulting in that it's not possible to dive here. Olivam is stuck on top side here, defending against Ponticus.
Yeah,
I think Ornn had to recall in that situation there somewhere.
Yeah, it was a good movement from the Wukong to be able to get over there and defend the turret in Ornn's absence. Was able to do so, was able to soak up at least all of the experience from that wave, get some of the CS as well.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate then for Ponticus, because Ponticus has to recall in order to get his items, while Ornn
does have the flash again this time, but probably not going to matter. Yeah, that's just going to be the charm into the prison, and R's now on a rampage, 4-0 on this.
At least he didn't use his flash like he did in the mid lane, which is nice, because in the next dragon fight he will be able to have that flash ready and available. Herald is about to spawn as well. I think they're going to just shove out mid lane and then go to Herald. As we see, Arsoseni getting into the same spot again, clearing out the Raptors here and looking for the over-the-wall jump towards mid lane.
Yeah, this time more members in the area for Ollie and the van. They get onto Nightline, and the Magnet Storm pulls him back. Carry Wing takes him down. That's going to be 5 kills now for Ollie and the Vam. Over the wall goes the Wukong. One more auto attack is all we need. Have Nimbus strike back up in just a moment. Should be enough. Just a crushing blow. Gonna get that last hit.
Ponicus, run! Where's Ponicus going? Joining in way too late for that fight.
Gnar in a little bit of an interesting position here. We'll be able to sidestep the EQ from the Rel, and now R's looking for the
so much damage.
Flash. Not quite gonna find it. There's the Gnar jumping forward, looking to get the kill onto Ghosty. The cleanse, though, will come out, and the knockup onto the Gnar means he cannot chase down that AD carry. And that was the Red Panda Warriors in a numbers disadvantage, trying to find the angle anyways, and it does not work out in their favor.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a desperate play coming there out from Ponticus, realizing that his team died, trying to salvage the situation, but only making it worse. Now they can't really contest the Herald. At the same time, Ziggs is pushing down on the bot lane.
Yeah, Asbrash got a solo kill while that was happening in mid lane. Just managed to blow up Maneki.
It's not looking good so far for Red Panda Warriors. I hope they can reset.
It's not looking good. Yeah, I mean, we just saw ours as well on the Sejuani, moving a couple of times towards this bot lane to try and punish the Ziggs, to try and get his mid laner back into this game a little bit. But as soon as the Sejuani leaves, Asbrash just turns it right back around once again.
Yep, especially now for the next Dragon fight, you're going to see already a difference in items, right? You have the needlessly large. And at the same time, on the top lane, you see Ornn already having completed this mythic, while Ponticus is still stuck trying to build his Divine Sunderer. So that will be very bad if they can't get that mythics up across the board for everybody. Also, no mythics on the support yet, as we see in Maneki here, looked at by Carrie Wang.
Yeah, it is a huge, pretty huge gold lead at this point for the side of Ollie and the Vam. Everybody on the top side of the map for them is up 1,000 gold or more, as ours on the front line. Looking for some CC. Ghosty getting chunked down right at the start of this one. Ends Maneki flashing forward with a Spirit Rush. They will be able to take down the guys of the Red Panda Warriors. Maybe able to find an angle here. Carry Wing burning down extremely low. The Glacial Prison as well, connecting onto the Wukong. Ollie down with the Warrior Trickster, able to get towards safety. It's Asbrash on the side, looking for a little bit of damage in return. Top laners, 1v1 as well. Called Forge God going to be flashed away from by Ponticus. Back to the mid lane, as the Dragon is alive right now, and it was the side of the Panda Warriors that managed to win out in that last fight. Some pretty low health bars, though.
That's beautiful how these teams, they just want to jump into the action right now, right? They farmed up the early game, and now that the item advantages are there, Ollie and the Vam are trying to fight and force a little bit of a fight with the engage of Ollie Vam. Now, that fight resulted into the Dragon being started up now. They're going to see... can use that gold a little bit from the Dragon.
Okay, interesting usage of Shirley there. She's going to make her way into the Dragon Pit. A little bit far from home is the Rift Herald. Oh, the Void Seeker. They're very, very low. It's going to be Wukong who is able to get into the pit. Olivam smites that one away. Ties up our Dragon count at 1-1. Shirley on a mission, but will not be able to get towards that turret. Ours not able to get the objective, but will be able to smite Shirley before she can charge.
What a crazy play there from Olivam, using the hair there to use it for vision. Now that is a way that you can use the objective, I guess. No words available anymore there to look at the Dragon and see the HP. That's a really interesting play. Well done, Olivam. It's something new that I learned today as a jungler.
Yeah, I never really got to do that myself either.
Walking around with 2 items, he is massive right now. Same thing for the Ziggs. Ziggs has already completed his Archangel Staff. It's going to be very painful when it comes to the amount of damages. As we see ours ascending, maybe looking for Ziggs. Instead, it's going to find the bot lane.
But the rest of Ollie and the Vam hot on his heels. And Sejuani will have to vacate the area. Knows that there's a no surprise factor here for the Panda Warriors. And the gold lead is 4K at the moment. So not as much as Ollie and the Vam found in the early game previously.
Engage.
Though in trouble here. Yefelios getting closed in on from all sides, and he cannot get away. Gets absolutely burst down right at the start of this one. Maneki, though, also completely out of this fight. Gonna get blown up by the Inferno Bomb. Didn't even get to use the last charge on the Spirit Rush there. And now ours just desperately trying to escape, trying to run. Nice prediction there. Gets away from the Satchel Charge. Not going to matter, though.
Look at the damage. Olivam is doing so much damage from Olivam with that 2-item combination, right? Completely shredding all the armor that's trying to stack. And you see as well, Olivam just being able to carry that fight. Nice snipe there from Asbrash. Just getting that kill on Maneki there. Sniping him out with the ultimate. See a big engage here happening from Ponticus, trying to look for the solo kill, but I think he has to flee after the TP.
Yeah, Silverback teleporting in to reinforce the mid laner. Will be able to do so. Tier 2 going to be falling in mid lane at the exact same time. Ghosty able to take that one down, and we're on the Baron. It's another T1 Baron attempt for Ollie and the VAM. They're two-manning it right now. Carry and the jungler. Kaisa going to be able to move over here, and this is clearly the Panda Warriors with no idea. They will be able to get a couple of trinket wards in the pit now, and this is going to be the retreat for Ollie VAM. It was a cute attempt. I like the effort, and I also like backing away immediately after they were spotted.
Yeah, they recognize as well if they kind of keep doing it with the low amount of damage. Oh, fight!
On the reset for a couple of members here. Now the Ziggs is in trouble. They are outnumbered. Olivam are outnumbered in the mid lane. This is a play that they had just found a couple of minutes ago, and now they are going to be the victims of it. Silverback flashing forward for the Brittle Auto. We'll be able to find one back onto the support. And now the side of the Panda Warriors are actually beating a retreat.
Silverback is not done yet. He's like, don't touch my mid lane. I will trade 2 kills if I have to. Using the ultimate there to chase out Maneki out of that fight.
I actually missed
crazy how they got 2 kills out 2 of 4. Aphelios.
We're back onto the Baron. Ponticus is in the bottom lane right now without teleport. Ours is here. Does have a blast cone, but that is a little bit early on the blast cone, and he is going to get taken down here. Sejuani tries to Arctic Assault back out of the pit, but it's too little too late. Cannot escape, and now no smite for the Panda Warriors, and we can burn down this Baron as Olivam pretty comfortably. Maneki is open for a miracle, trying to find something. The charm can connect only onto the Ornn, though. Ponticus is doing some work down here in the bottom lane. Takes out the turret, looking for the kill now onto the mid laner. The shield is massive, though, for Asbrash, looking to find the outplay. The bomb is sidestepped, and Ponticus will find the solo kill. Baron has gone over, though. Olivam able to secure that one. Does cost them their mid laner and the tier 2 in the bot lane, but now Nylon in trouble. The killer instinct in, and Ghosty sees the angle, assassinates the enemy AD carry, and he flashes forward. He picks up the double. Ghosty taking this game into his own hand.
Ghosty is hungry for blood here to pick up Vivera and Nightlawn. Beautiful ultimate right on top of Nightlawn, and he cannot escape that situation. Crazy how it all turned around from them having a Baron into solo kill on bot side. Well done by Ponticus. But honestly, Ghosty, you didn't have to do it like that. They were already down. You didn't have to do it like that. Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe if Gnar hadn't been so rude as to take his bot lane tier 2 turret, he wouldn't have had to, Beetle. But let's take a look at the replay here.
As you saw here as well, Ponticus picking up the solo kill, and it was beautiful how they did that. And then Ghosty is able to pick up these 2 kills, dashing in forward with no remorse, ready to pick up these kills. And he's saying thank you for that double.
Yeah. Kaisa just seeing the angle there. We do have huge item leads in both of the solo lanes in favor of
Olivam is ready again.
That's going to be Gnar getting engaged on. He does turn Mega. He tries to flash away, but he's already so low. He's going to get taken down. And look at Ghosty still staying safe on the back line. The Call of the Forge God will connect onto when the Aphelios already been taken down. This team fight is all Olivam all the way. Still with the Baron. Oh, the Void Seeker as well. Ghosty with a +1 on top. A 3-for-1 in the team fight. Olivam are completely now in control of this game 3. They had a rough game 1, Beetle. It was looking a little bit scary. It was looking like maybe an underdog story tonight, but Olivam have gained so much momentum over the course of this series.
Asbrash easily doing their 4,000 damage, I think, with the Mega Inferno Bomb. That was insane amount of damage, absolutely wiping the Red Pandas. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that it's well getting sniped out at the end. It looked like a good fight at the start, but Olivam finds the engage here on Ponticus, and that just turns into a really, really great massacre. It's hard to see a little bit on the right side. You see a great engage happening, and you see Gnar as well getting blown up instantly. That's so much damage. Oh my god. I think the Oppenheimer movie is really doing things to this match. Able to do
and the
insane amount of damage
in base as well. So as soon as we do get Asbrash back to the fountain, that ult is going to, in fact, be doing a lot more damage than what we already saw, which is pretty terrifying.
It's crazy to think that this little Yordle has such big bombs to throw, right?
Yeah, I mean, where does he put them?
Where does he put them? I know how he diffuses them, but I don't know when he puts them. As you see the death cap being picked up here together with the Ornn passive item. What's the name actually? And without looking, right? What's the name of Luden's Echo?
When the upgraded version? I
exactly.
think it's Luden's Tempest.
Eye of Luden. Oh, Eye of Luden.
Yeah.
Is it Eye of the or Eye of Luden? I don't know.
It's just Eye of Luden.
Eye of Luden, yeah.
No.
It gives you a lot more stats. Let me put it like that. Not only does it give you more AP, it also gives you extra CDR, I think it was, and it gives you. Now the extra mana is really, really important here, right? Because Seraph's Embrace actually gets also additional ability power, but not just that, he also gets an extra shield. So not only does he get more damage, he's also harder to kill now. It's crazy item combination here, and that's what Ornn is so good at, right? When you get to that late game, when you get to that level 13 or 14 point, where you can start building items for your team, it's just a complete swing in damage. As you see here, push happening in mid.
Absolutely, yeah. We do not have the Baron buff anymore on the side of Olivam, but still, you know, they have this Ziggs who is so incredibly powerful. The siege should still be very workable for Olivam from this position. They don't have too much of a minion wave right now, and there is a potential collapse here as the Magnet Storm will come out. Ours on the front line is going to have to flash away to try and stay alive. Here comes Ponticus off on the flank, gets the Gnar into two, but look at Ghosty and Asbraj able to stay completely safe in the back line here. Now Ghosty able to kill her thing, then able to clean this one up. And it was Ponticus, you know, moving over, trying to find an angle there, but ultimately did not get into the back line, did not get onto the priority targets, and the scaling has come through so much for Olivam at this point in the game. They're going to be able to walk it into the base now. It is a 5v2.
But there's no minions. There's no minions.
For the next 20 seconds. They need a minion wave, though, Beetle. You're absolutely right. They can't get onto the next turrets just yet. Olivam going aggressively into the next turrets there is going to get taken down, shut down over to Maneki.
Here's another charge.
Now only a 4v2. They're going to have to back away. They don't have the health bars to continue the siege. Aphelios is coming up soon. And a little bit of an overstay there from Olivam. Not as clean as what we saw in game 2 necessarily.
It's crazy that Maneki was actually able to pull out the defense there, clearing the ways here with Ariq, right? Getting so much damage on Olivam, sucking him into the turret with that lovely charm. There's a lot of TikTok memes about this thing, where Wukong getting charmed. But it's really insane that they were able to defend that.
I don't want to be that guy, but it was Olivam who did actually voluntarily go into the range of the Nexus turret with the Nimbus Strike and then got charmed afterwards. So, yes, it was a good charm, but also, Wukong, you probably shouldn't be going underneath the Nexus turrets.
Probably not,
wave. But yes.
No, it's the hype of having the final match, and you just feel like after that fight that you could actually do something.
Yeah.
And clear out the game.
He wanted to end the game right there, but ultimately not going to be the case. Still, it is Olivam massively ahead right now in this one. 10,000 is the gold lead. Absolutely monumental. And they are going to have the possibility of putting themselves on Mountain Soul Point in just 30 short seconds as well. Baron also is alive, and that is probably the greater prize with another Baron buff. Certainly, I think we can predict Olivam to be able to end the game.
Look at Carry Wang. Look at Carry.
For the fight. Yeah, that's Vivera going to get blown up by the Infernal Bomb. The support immediately taken out, and now ours is surrounded, cannot escape. Carry Wang does get taken down, but Nightline has to expose himself, put himself in danger to find that one kill. We do have Maneki off on the side. It's all up to the Ahri now. She does have a high damage build. Can Maneki find a miracle in this team fight? Has that one last charge of the Spirit Rush to get back over the wall. They don't find only that one kill flashing forward.
The charm was on cooldown.
Find the charm. Oh, the
charm was on
cooldown for the Ahri. Oh, and Maneki is not able to find it in the end. Olivam gonna be able to get their second Nexus just under 30 minutes, and the favorites coming in tonight, they will find themselves in the finals versus the #1 seed. A well-deserved spot. Some clean gameplay for the most part in games 2 and 3, and some really strong drafting as well. Nexus will fall, and Ollie and the Bam will be your second finalist in Season 6.
Wow, wow, wow. So crazy, the amount of damage that Ash was able to put out there. Oh, I'm sad for Red Panda Warriors, but I'm also glad that they put up such a fight. It was really, really intense game. 40 kills across the board. They were able to do a lot back, but at the end, you know, they seemed not the stronger team, and I'm glad that Oli and the Vam are able to take that lead that they got from the first game and able to continue completely demolishing, I guess, here in the game versus Red Panda Warriors.
Yeah,
great job here from Ghosty as well. 8-1. This man is on fire.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a much closer early game, as we already discussed, right, Beetle? It was closer for a little bit longer this time around, and Ars Occidental on the Sejuani did have a couple of really nice looks
For
in that
sure, yeah.
early game to try and put the team in a decent spot, but ultimately it was all three lanes for the side of Ollie and the Vam that ended up winning out, and from that position, it's always hard to try and find a window back into the game, and I like your call out as well. Ghosty really just kind of taking over in a lot of those fights. Another really phenomenal performance from the AD, Olivam.
Definitely. I think here Olivam and definitely did a good job, but Asbrash, those nukes, the 2 games of Ziggs, even though that they lost the second game, or they won the second game actually, right? Ziggs did a lot of damage, and I'm pretty sure that the other teams as well in the finals that they're gonna play, I think next week, then Olivam is gonna, or Asbrash is gonna see the Ziggs bands coming through. Great job by this guy. Absolutely insane. 33,000 damage. If I'm just looking at the damage that just popped up for me, 33,000 damage. Just for comparison, if you look at what damage that Maneki did 21,000. So he did 12,000 damage more. That's 33% almost. More damage.
He had the most on his team as
And
well.
he had the most on his team as well.
On their own team. So, and it was still far less than the Ziggs, and not close to enough, unfortunately, for the side of the Panda Warriors. They did hang on for a while in this third game, but yeah, I mean, like you said just a moment ago, it was Ollie and the Vam rather, that were the better team tonight. A well-deserved victory for them. Asbrash, 2 games in a row on the Ziggs, most damage in the game both times. Excuse me. And really just the team firing on all cylinders. Really outperforming in those team fights very, very consistently when it really mattered.
I'm actually curious. I'm sending messages. You have some interviews maybe in a.
Oh yeah, potentially an interview. We do have the MVP vote up now in the Discord, guys. So please do head over there to the MVP vote channel in the Discord. Cast your vote. Let us know who you think was the MVP for this one, and then we may be able to get them in here for that interview, Beetle. Hopefully we can.
Real quick, who was MVP for you? Because I'm really curious. I said already Red Panda, but I'm also happy if Ollie and the Vam wins like this. I just know they were, in this case, the better team. So it was good on them. But who was for you really the person who stood out in these games?
That is a tough one. That is a really tough one. For me, I think it is between Asbrash and Olivam. I would say if we are just, thinking about game 2, the game 2 win for Ollie and the Vam, I want to say that maybe the jungler does edge it out there, but if it's more like player of the series is the question, I think I would probably have to give it to the mid laner because the Ziggs performance was so consistent. But Ghosty has a strong case as well. I think all 3 of those guys could pretty comfortably actually lock in.
Yeah, I think Ghosty played out of his mind as well, especially after the first game where he didn't get to play, like he has a very big difference to how he played the first game. I think he just was able to get the Nightland vibes, and he was able to do the same thing that Nightland did to him. Really great how he turned around his mental. It's absolutely great props as well. I do want to highlight one person for me personally, like Silverback. The way that he played that last game compared to how he played the first game, this man went through an entire character development. Like when you have like a show, you see like character development. This guy went through all stages during this series. Yeah. He turned from like a gold top lane player to like a diamond top lane player. No deaths last game, able to be on the right spots at every single time last game. Yeah, he did miss some ultimates, but this is the part of the character development we're going to see the next time, right? Yeah, keep an eye out for this, man.
I think you're maybe cutting out a little bit there, unfortunately, Beetle. I'm not sure if that was just me.
No, it's my batteries are slowly dying.
Yeah, I mean, Silverback had a really great performance, definitely. Able to go deathless in this last game, really went Super Saiyan, and had so many great movements around the map, so many great engages with the Ornhorn. Really set the team up for success very, very nicely.
I am slowly having some technical issues with my headset. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe some internet difficulties or something. Really hard to say, hard to know for sure. But these things do happen, the technical difficulties. But we will.
Good that they're at the end, though. Good that they're at the end.
Yes. Happy that didn't happen during the game, certainly.
It doesn't seem like we can get interviews ready for tonight, but it's okay. You can find people in Discord. So if you are thinking that you are better than these people, because obviously maybe I will join as well like this. No, but if you feel like you can also show off some great skills, and if you feel like you can participate versus these guys, head over to the Discord as well. I think it's in the bio of the YouTube channel, and just sign up. You know, the visions, the signups, they're always open. You can always join. The next one starts, I think, still in a bit, but next month. But you are able to participate yourself. So definitely
maybe cutting out again. Still not sure if that's just me. I don't know if you guys can hear Beetle on the stream.
Okay, I think the technical difficulties are telling us to just end the stream really, really quickly.
Technical difficulties. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I mean, really props to Ollie and the Vam. Would be fantastic if we could get some final thoughts from Beetle here before we close out the stream.
I would say I'm ready to see these guys develop even further. Like the character development that they had so far, it's just great. I definitely am going to tune in next week. Maybe I'm going to cast it. I don't know. We're going to see. But it was a pleasure also to cast the Duke Room.
Absolutely. An absolute pleasure to be here with you as well, Beetle. We were treated to, I think, a very fun series this evening.
For sure, yeah.
Very back and forth, you know, when we take game one into account, you know, we did see the Red Panda Warriors getting some punches in, but ultimately, you know, Ollie and the Vam, a well-deserved spot now in the finals next week, and that will be really exciting to watch, absolutely. We hope to see you guys all there. That will do it for us tonight, though. So from myself, from Beetle here, from the entire production team at the Cobalt Wins League, thank you everybody so very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you again next week for the grand finals. Until then, take care and good night.
Hey, Crewman.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so listen, I know I was working on the puns. Okay, I have another one. What do you call a bronze team with Dr. Mundo, Nurse Akali, Surgeon Shen, Kennen MD, and Soraka? A bronze team.
I don't know. What do you call them?
Doctors Without Borders. Get it? How was that? Not good?
That was,
Okay, I'll try next
yeah,
week. I'll try
I think
next week.
that'll work. That'll work.
I'll try next week.